Tom up, Joe Murray, the only full show this week here. We get Celtics and Bruins back in action all week long, so we'll have opening takes. And tonight we'll have all the fun and games reaction from the weekend that was. Again, the phone number here is 617-779-0985. What's up to our friends watching on YouTube tonight? Just go to youtube.com. You can just say 98.5 The Sports Hub. That's how I watch the morning show. I grab my remote and I just yell it right into it, and bing, bang, boom. It goes right to it. We'll do some Bruins tonight. We got Red Sox were rained out today, but some interesting things from over the weekend. The Celtics have began their repeat, and a lot more. A bunch of other stories, Patriots stuff, Combine stuff. We'll talk to Alex Barth. I know everybody's going to be talking to Alex Barth, who will be at the Combine. We'll talk to him shortly. Jim McBride on the Bees tonight. We'll talk to him. And Skaz is here as well. We got Street Team Joe and Intern Trent. Full house today. All hands on deck on the night show here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. But where do we start? How about with the Bruins in the opening take, brought to you by ESPN Bet Sportsbook? Opening take here on the night show, brought to you by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Well, the Bruins are not contenders, and they may be dead. After watching a week of the best hockey on the planet with the best players in the world on the ice, the Bruins returned to action on Saturday night and lost yet another disappointing game, this time to the Anaheim Ducks in a 3-2 overtime loss at the Garden, the same Garden that saw the Four Nations final, Team Canada beat Team USA. The Bruins, of course, for those that didn't watch, they started the game down 2-0. Down 2-0 again at home after a break. Like, where was the urgency there? I would love to tell you it's the coach, right? Because they fired so many of them. But when it comes to teams being fired up, yeah, that's who you go to. You go to the coach. None of this is Joe Sacco's problem, and he's going to be the one that's going to have to deal with all the changes that are about to become the Boston Bruins, or that are ahead for the Bruins. But being down 2-0 first thing out of the gate with Sweeney, who rode the pine the entire way of the Four Nations, just wasn't ready to go. Wasn't ready. Down 2-0, but they showed a little bit of fight, right? Elias Lindholm scores a goal. Morgan Geekie scored a goal with 1:11 left in regulation. The fans went nuts because the goal didn't count at first. Then they challenged it, and then they finally won. So nothing really is on the Bruins side whatsoever. Nothing is. And they lost in overtime at home. Again. They've lost 3 in a row, 5 of their last 7. Charlie McAvoy remains out with a shoulder injury from the infection that he picked up at the Four Nations face-off, which we'll have more on later. Hampus Lindholm's now going to miss the rest of the season. There are some incredible numbers when it comes to Lindholm and how much better the Bruins are with him on the ice than not on the ice. Duh. But who would have thought that Lindholm was the one who made the biggest impact in that area? Now they'll take on Toronto on Tuesday night at home, where they'll see Austin Matthews, who can't do anything in the building, right? And I said it off the air to Kevin Majore and friends. Get ready. Austin Matthews is going to have a huge night against the Bruins on Tuesday. But the Bruins, right? They want to keep Brad Marchand in the fold. Couple of quotes this weekend that caught my attention. The ultimate goal is to keep Brad Marchand a member of the Spoke Bee going forward. Listen to this one. We've been in negotiations with Brad and communicating with him throughout the year. We'll have a conversation now that the Four Nations is over and sit down with Brad and his representatives and have a clearer path in the next 2 weeks as to what the final outcome will be. Whoa. He wants to play here. He doesn't think he'll get traded. And now we're going to sit and talk with him and come up with a clearer path? And they have 2 weeks to figure out a final outcome? Interesting. I like it. You know, I think Marchand on the What Chaos podcast, we played it for you a couple of weeks ago, thinks that he'd be shocked if he was traded. What makes you so shocked, Brad Marchand? Your play is diminishing. You barely did much with Team Canada. I know you scored a goal in one of the games, but your ice time was low. The team stinks. People want Sweeney gone. What's he supposed to do at this point? Restock, rebuild? Aren't you a big part of that? So Sweeney still has a job, which is another thing I wanted to throw in here. And he has a chance to at least try to not fix the issue with this year's team, because that can't be fixed. But can he try to right some wrongs? Can he try to rebuild the system a bit? Can he try to move on from some pieces to really help this team going forward? It might be too late. It might be. But for almost 10 years now, Don Sweeney has always been active at the trade deadline. And I think a lot of his moves have been very good. Now, it's easy to look at it and say giving up first-round picks for those type of talents to go all in at the deadline, it's why they are in this position right now. They have no young talent in the system. They have no one that they can plug in and play, and they really just haven't developed whatsoever. So, to me, I find it interesting that Don Sweeney's the one making these decisions and is the one that is at least still has another chance to try to replenish and restock. But he's made it pretty clear they're not investing in this team, and I wonder if he's been told that by management. Whether it's Neely, whether it's the Jacobs, was there some sort of demand to say, don't trade Marchand and don't trade any first-round picks? That's pretty interesting if that is the case. I threw the Marchand thing into the mix, just me stirring the pot a little bit. But is that something coming from ownership? And is really all they have Brad Marchand going forward? I know there's McAvoy, and we'll get into that. And there's Pastrnak with his big contract. But what else do the Bruins have? And just my takeaway from the Four Nations and the Bees lost from the other night, they're toast. This thing's over. The 9-year run from Don Sweeney, overall, a fail. Your thoughts at 617-779-0985. It's not all Sweeney's fault, but in the end, it's a fail. We'll lead it off there tonight. Again, leadoff take brought to you by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. We got Skaz here tonight. We got a full show as we're here until 10 o'clock. I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe. your strategy or game plan, how you view the trade deadline?
Well, I think historically we've been pretty aggressive. When our team's been in a position, I think we'll take a much more cautious approach as we approach the deadline. That being said, if there are opportunities to improve our team now and certainly moving forward, whether that's positional shifts or other teams are trying to identify that we may have a strength at, we will look at all opportunities to improve our team now, but more importantly, even moving forward.
Meaning trading away players and trading in players potentially?
Yeah. I mean, it's just stuff that happens during this period of time, and it may plant a seed for the draft and beyond. But there'll be a lot of conversations with people asking, what possible moves we can make. We're just going to take a little more cautious approach in terms of as being aggressive as we have been in the past.
All right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. That was Bruins general manager Don Sweeney. Says that they'll be aggressive. Trade deadline is the 7th. There's not going to be many times where we lead off the show with Bruins takes anymore, people. But I feel like after the Four Nations and what we saw last week and where the state of the Bruins is, the loss on Saturday night literally sums up the year. You're down 2-0. You suck. You come back, and you're like, hey, there's a chance here. You got the better goalie. And then you scored with only, a minute and 11 left? Is that what it was? Oh, no, they lost with a minute and 11 left in overtime. I mean, how many times do they give up goals late in periods? Forget about this year. I think it was 25 times. I know. Ty Anderson has a running clock on this. Our very own Ty Anderson, 98.5 The Sports Hub and Sports Hub Underground. But the running clock, it's getting old. And there's so many things about the Bruins this year. I don't know how many times I can keep saying they lost their identity. They have no leadership whatsoever. They have nothing in their pipeline. But yet, I want to credit at times Don Sweeney for keeping this thing alive. Being able to turn the roster over from Chara to Bergeron and Krejci and guys like that to still being a good team. But it's finally caught up to them. The bad drafts have finally caught up to them. They are here because of what Don Sweeney has done to the team. I know a lot of this is the players. I'm not letting them off the hook, but in the end, it's about did you win or did you not? And in Don Sweeney's run here, he absolutely doubled down on some really good seasons. It was the players that let him down. There may have been some odd contract extensions, but yet you didn't give one to your coach this year or even to Brad Marchand this year. So there's a lot of just ways they've handled things that I don't love. But looking at Sweeney's run here, there's some people that probably would tell you it's a success. It's not all on him. He's made good trades. As far as moving on from talent in the NHL, I think he's done a good job from it. But the way that he has just been so careless about whether it's picks or players in the minor league, this is why the Bruins are dead. This is why we'll probably won't be talking about them unless they make a serious move, and one of them is Brad Marchand. But there's no other way to look at it with this group. Right? Sweeney talked about, adding reinforcements at one point at the deadline, which he's always done. And I know Fluto Shinzawa had this at The Athletic this week, but the Lee Stempniaks, Drew Staffords, Marcus Johanssons, they went and spent. How about Rick Nash and Orlov and Bertuzzi giving up first-round picks for guys like that? Trading for Coyle, but giving up a first-round pick. Trading for Lindholm, but giving up first-round picks. It's just going all in is caught up to the franchise. Right? You trade 4 first-round picks for guys like Nash and Kase and Lindholm and Orlov. It's killing them right now. And no help is on the way. He could trade some of his prospects for immediate assistance. He could. But who's giving you anything? The window is about 2 weeks here. March 7th is the trade deadline. Sweeney has an opportunity here to acquire future talent or future picks. It's what they need. I'm sure he's not interested in really acquiring draft capital, but isn't that why they made the Allmark trade? To free up some of your cap space, but also get a first-round pick? And in return, they got Dean Letourneau, a 7-foot center with 0 goals? And he's already talking about this season like it's past tense. They've played almost 60 games. Yes, they are treading water. I've seen enough. They've seen enough. And quite frankly, what do they have? Swayman, Pastrnak, and McAvoy. Like, that's their future? That's not a foundation, if you ask me. Pastrnak, great. But their foundation is Pastrnak, McAvoy, and Swayman? Is that good enough? And I mentioned Joe Sacco. He's the guy that's got to deal with all this as Sweeney tries to put players up for sale right now. One other thing on Marchand I wanted to get into. He wants to be a lifelong Bruin. And I think the Bruins want to do the same. That's why I bring up ownership. Like, do they want to keep him here forever and consider him like the Bergerons and Charas, which I don't. But he's been talking to his agent. He's going to. He's 36. He'll be unrestricted. He has 45 points in 58 games. He wants to play next year. He wants to play in the Canadian Olympics. Skaz, we were talking about it the other night. I don't even think he's good enough to play for the Canadian team in the Olympics. One other thing, I wanted to bring up. Sweeney declined to answer any questions regarding McAvoy's treatment from USA Hockey. The Bruins made it clear that they were dissatisfied with the care in Montreal following the injury. And he went on to say that the care Charlie received here is what was most important from a standpoint of where his health is at now. That's all that really matters. Hence the treatment that he received here. So that story's not over yet. But Bruins fans, I got to tell you, Sweeney's tried to go for it. When they were the best team in hockey and broke a record in the regular season, they went all in. We loved it. We credited them. We applauded them for it. It was the team that didn't play well. At this point, do you want Sweeney being the guy making these decisions? As they continue to tread water here, I don't. They need a new coach. They probably need a new general manager. Maybe there's been direction from ownership. Maybe they want to do Sweeney right. But at this point, I question if he'll make the right moves going into the future. But at least he has a shot here to have a conversation about coming back. Him and Neely. He's got 2 weeks to figure this thing out. His job's not done yet. I don't want him to be the guy. But at this point, does he deserve it? Does he deserve the benefit of the doubt? As far as making moves at the deadline, he's been pretty good. And I want to see if he can do it one more time here with the Bruins. But after that, I think it's over. Skaz, how were your thoughts on the Bruins this weekend, my man?
Yeah, Joe, what a treat to go from the Four Nations back to the Bruins at the Garden. No, I'm with you. I think the season is over. This is with McAvoy hurt, and it sounds like Lindholm's done for the season. They basically confirmed it. Sell, get whatever you can. But to your point, what are you getting back? What are you getting for Frederick? Doesn't sound like your most valuable piece, and Marchand wants to be moved. So the Bruins are in the worst place in sports right now. You're not completely awful where you're going to have a top 5 pick, but you're not good enough to compete for a cup either. So they're stuck right in the middle, and they don't have the assets to really get out of it right now. So they're going to have to get creative. And while we've seen Sweeney make good, moves to get NHL level talent, we've never seen him rebuild. They retool constantly and stay in that, just under that top tier of the league. They're in that second tier where they're very good but not elite enough to actually win. And now they really need to tear it down. They need to head completely in the other direction and build this thing up from the ground, because it's not sustainable what they've done with this roster year in and year out.
Oh, do you think Sweeney should be the guy who makes the moves?
Do I think he should? No, but do I think he probably will be? Yes.
Do you think he can do anything to save his job?
Joe, I'm not even sure I think his job's that up for peril. I think this is kind of what the Bruins, they asked for him to do these things. They asked for him to make them a good playoff team, to get to the playoffs. That's what they care about, is getting playoff gates, having home games at the Garden, and he was good at acquiring NHL-level talent to do those things. But now, when you're probably not going to be able to do that and you have to get back to that point, I don't think Sweeney's the guy to get them back there.
I don't want Sweeney to be the guy to be the one to make the next head coaching decision either. I can't wait for whoever the next coach is. And this is no slight on Joe Sacco. It's just that you're not the guy, bro. It's not, you didn't do anything wrong. You're just not the guy. But this Sweeney stuff, it's going to be interesting over the next couple of weeks, and it's going to be pretty hard on some Bruins fans. Let's talk to Joe. He's in Randolph. What's up, Joe? You're on the Sports Hub.
Yeah, Joe, if you give me a second, I'll take you off the speaker. We have the NFL draft coming up pretty soon, and when I watched the Super Bowl and I saw what the Eagles did to the Chiefs defensively, I'm going to ask you the question, do you think that most of the teams now are going to be refocusing and prioritize their defense instead of prioritizing the offense the way they have been the last few years?
Good question, Joe. I'll tell you this. We're gonna talk to Alex Barth in about 15 minutes. He's in Indianapolis. He's going to be at the Combine this week. I think if I'm the Patriots, I look to rebuild the defense. When you have a quarterback who can throw the football, you should have an interest on defense. So I think that's what teams should be doing, is prioritizing a quarterback and an offense, then building your defense. Sometimes with young quarterbacks, like Denver, let's say, improve your defense, continue to work on your offense. Frank's in Marshfield. Hey, Frank.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
How you doing?
Good. Speaking of the Bruins, I may have an assignment for you. In all the other sports, us sports fans seem to know who that guy is, who's the next general manager, who's the upcoming guy. Do you know, who could take over this team and build a good program? Who are those names? Do you know?
Well, we had Anson Carter on last week. He mentioned Joe Quenneville is somebody that could come back to the league. Pandolfo would be someone that I'd be interested in. He's obviously spent, I think, the end of his career with the Bruins and was at BU now for a little bit. I wonder if they should go that route, or do they go with a guy that's been in the league for a bit? Gallant's probably another guy that's at least had some consideration. Plenty of ties to Pasternak and Marchand and Swayman. So maybe that's one guy. David Carl, is that who it is? The kid from Denver. But we brought that up before that didn't necessarily work out with Montgomery. I don't know. Every single Bruins reporter that I have on, I have asked them that question. So maybe that's the list we can keep in the back there, Skez. Next Bruins head coach. I don't know. I mean, there's guys with experience, but do you want them? Pandolfo would be interesting to me. I'd be interested, but I almost wonder if they should go with a guy that has NHL experience that works with a GM and go from there. But hockey's interesting. Ownership goes with what they're comfortable with often. Who's the guy that they let go again? Skaz, that was in the Providence. Oh, that's back now, but they put Sacco over him.
Jay Leach.
I feel like they need to blow it up.
It's going to be Jay Leach.
Do you think he'll be the next head coach?
I think that would be a very Bruins move to make.
But how is that a long-term move? This is what I mean. If Sweeney's back, right, then Jay Leach is the coach. But, don't you want I use the word hockey overlord, because don't you want a guy that can work with a GM and blow the thing up and build it themselves? Oh, this team stinks. And there's no one to threaten anybody for their job in the minors. Nobody. One more. Let's talk to Justin in Lynn. Hey, Justin.
Hey, Joe. I agree with you, Joe. The Bruins are a mess. I talked about it with you on my show when you were on with me, and we talked about it. You asked me if I thought this team was going to be the second team to win a championship. Right now, they're a long way from that, Joe, and they're nowhere close.
Yeah, the next team to win a championship in this town, huh? We'll save that for another day, Skaz. We'll put that one up on that would have been a good one for last week, the way that things, it was a tractor pull of a week. And I felt the effects of it all weekend long. We'll hit the headlines here. I'm Joe Murray. We will talk with Alex Barth coming up in just a little bit as well. And, Alex Bregman was doing some things. We'll let you hear those coming up next here after the headlines on the Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines presented by
Out of the day for Garrett Crochet. He retires Jimenez to begin the game.
I'm going to like watching these strikeouts. This thing, you got no chance.
2-1 pitch to Bregman. Rips that one high to left field, up towards the wall and over everything. Welcome to Boston, Alex Bregman. A 2-run shot over the wall, and the Red Sox take a 3-0 lead.
All right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. We're going to talk to Alex Barth coming up in just a little bit. Then you can call in 617-779-0985. We wanted to play you those clips because, well, the shiny new toys were on display for the Boston Red Sox this week. Bregman went 3 for 3 with a home run, and, well, Garrett Crochet, he flashed with 4 strikeouts over an inning and 2/3. There was a different vibe watching both of those players. The shiny new toys, as I like to call them. But Bregman's always been a great Fenway Park hitter. And now we'll find out if Crochet will be the long-term pitching that the Red Sox have been looking for a long time. Great to see both play this week. Both guys are super pumped to get underway, said Bregman. Bregman also mentioned that Crochet punched out the side in the first. His stuff is electric, and he's faced him over the past few years. He's been fun to watch, difficult to face, and glad he's on his team. So the Red Sox flashing some shiny new toys this weekend with Bregman and Crochet. The vibes are back with the Boston Red Sox. We'll talk with Alex Barth, who's live from the Combine this week, which starts on Thursday, but there's already people dropping out. We'll get his thoughts coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
At Metro Credit Union, our checking is shaped by members, which means we can offer checking that
lets me choose the features I want.
football aficionado. And I respect it because I used to be one of those guys. Used to be. I used to look up. I watched everything about the draft. I watched I'll never forget the Chad Jackson draft, where I looked at him and I identified Chad Jackson as the best wide receiver in the draft. What do I know? But his name is Alex Barth, and he's joining us right now on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Alex, how you doing tonight, bud?
Good. How we doing, Joe?
Man, you're going to be getting a lot of airtime this week, so I appreciate you joining us today.
Of course.
I know you're going to be. You were on earlier. I didn't hear it, so I purposely didn't want to hear it because I wanted to ask you my own questions. But what do you value more? Do you value the combine or pro day more?
Between combine and pro day, the combine. It's a neutral site, if that makes sense. Like, a guy will run a 4.5 40 at the combine, and suddenly he's down to like a 4.42 at his pro day.
True.
And things like that. I think for teams, there's different values. The testing here holds more weight. The pro day is more about getting to interact with the player, right? The coaches can interact with the players more during the drills, meet with them after. But if we're just talking about like the on-field, it's the combine.
Why do you think Shedeur Sanders, Abdul Carter, even Ashton Genty will not participate in any of the drills?
I think it's different for between them. Genty and Carter don't need to. Genty and Carter are secure where they're going, right? And Carter's already should be a lock to be a top 3 pick, depending on what happens with the quarterbacks. He's put a lot of impressive athletic traits on film. There's really no upside to him working out. I'd say the same with Genty. He's a running back, so he has his ceiling, and he's more of a power back. So he's not somebody that, he's not going to run the best 40 of all the running backs, but that's not really, he's fast, but that's not really his strength. With Sanders, I wonder if some of it is just positioning, right? You look at last year. Drake May, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels didn't work out, and Bo Nix, Michael Penix, and who am I missing? J.J. McCarthy did, right? So if you're Shedeur Sanders, which group do you want to be seen as being a part of? The Williams, May, Daniels group, or the Penix, Nix, McCarthy group? So top quarterbacks generally don't work out at the combine, and I wonder if it's just an element of, I'm a top quarterback in this draft. You guys, it's on tape. You guys have seen me. I don't need to work out.
When it comes to previous workouts and attendees, prospects to now, isn't there less now because of the NIL and everything like that?
I don't know about that. I think more guys are cognizant of not needing to work out if they're at the top of the draft. That wasn't as common maybe 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. You just kind of worked out because it's what you did, and over time, guys started to figure out, especially at the skill positions, my stock's as high as it's going to get. Worst thing I can do is slip on the 40, and now suddenly I'm going lower than I should have. So I think it's just more awareness of that.
All right, Alex Barth joining us here. He'll be at the Combine all week long in Indianapolis. I know things pretty much ramped up today, right? I know there were some meetings and registration and orientations, but when did things start to ramp up with 40 times and bench press, et cetera?
So the workouts start on Thursday. It'll be defensive linemen, linebackers, and specialists on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But we will still there's still big stuff early in the week. So Mike Vrabel speaks tomorrow morning at 10:15, and then we get Elliot Wolf on Wednesday, and we'll start getting some player measurements on Wednesday. So we're going to start getting news tomorrow, just big picture news. The testing doesn't come until Thursday.
Now, the old Patriots, right, the Belichick Patriots, always loved 3-cone drill speeds, and there were certain criteria. Like you would even mention it to me off the air at times where, they like this guy because he does this. Well, I mean, Matt Groh still has that system, right? That grading system I'm sorry, not Matt Groh. Elliot Wolf has that grading system now in place. But how does Mike Vrabel's grading system go into effect now? And what do you think some of the changes will be compared to what Belichick did, even last year, what they did, and now with Vrabel?
Well, some of it's just going to be, stylistically, they're going to be a different team, right? If they're going to be the smaller, more attacking, aggressive, quicker defense, well, you're not looking for nose tackles that are going to two-gap. You're not necessarily looking for 300-pound defensive ends. You might be 260, 270, 250-pound linebackers, outside linebackers to rush the passer instead of 265, guys that are a little quicker, a little more explosive. You look in Tennessee, Harold Landry, who had the most sacks for the Titans under Mike Vrabel's tenure, He's not small, but he's a smaller guy by outside linebacker standards. So whether it's the grading system, whether it's just what's the system fit, it is going to be different this year, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Offensive, if anything, we may end up going back to some of the Belichick hallmarks because it sounds like they're going to go back to that Josh McDaniels offense. So like the slot receiver, right? The shifty slot receiver, that's back in. Running backs that are more specialized, that's back in. Bigger guards, that's back in. So that might actually be more familiar than it's been the last couple of years. Defense, I think the priorities, tendencies, whatever you want to call it, that's going to look different.
All right, Alex Barth has the perfect Patriots offseason that you can it's a nice little exercise here. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, and $1 players. Left tackles, receivers, pass rush, offensive flex people, and defensive flex. So you can have some fun with that. I'll tweet it out right now. I got one more for you, though, before we let you go. I know the Combine's this week, but Alex Van Pelt got a job with the Rams today as an offensive assistant. What were your thoughts on that, and what do you think will happen with the Stafford situation?
Van Pelt, I said this. Van Pelt was not the biggest issue last year. He was not perfect, but I don't think he was not nearly as bad as some of the other members of the coaching staff. He was not nearly as responsible for what happened. It's good to see him get another opportunity. I don't know how much he impacts Matthew Stafford. It's not like he's the offensive coordinator. He's there as a senior offensive assistant. They have guys here doing that. As for Stafford, I think he's going to stay. I think this is one of those situations where they can't agree on they can't get in the same ballpark on what he's worth. So you say, all right, go talk to other teams, see what they'd pay you, and if we can make it match, we can make it match. And if it's closer to what we wanted, then you come down on us. So I think it's more of a fact-finding mission than anything else. It's sort of like what happened with Lamar Jackson 2 years ago. Now, that was different because he was technically a restricted free agent, but I think the Rams are basically letting Matthew Stafford become a restricted free agent to figure out what is fair to pay him.
I mean, they were, a quarter away or a drive away from potentially knocking off the Super Bowl champions and hung around. So to me, it's just a little it's wild, but I like the way you put it is he's a restricted free agent. And, hey, look at some of those numbers, right? Dak Prescott and some of these huge contracts. I think he's actually deserving of what he's asking for.
I think so, too. They'd be nuts to let him go. Like you said, they were a good team last year. They're going to get healthier this year. They had some health issues last year that held them back. It's too soon to quit on Matthew Stafford. If he truly was available, I think there'd be a line of teams making offers, and especially this offseason. We talked about it earlier, right? Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward at the top of the draft, not close to the quarterbacks that were available last year. If you're a quarterback in the league and you want to make a power play, this is the year to do it. Because you have all the leverage, because there really aren't other options. So if you're a quarterback looking to get a raise or whatever, an extension, last year was tough because look at all these quarterbacks in the draft. It's what the Vikings did with Kirk Cousins. They let him walk. This year, it's you're going to take a longer look at keeping that guy because you don't really have many other great options.
All right, Alex, I'm looking for a good story, like a kid from some Division II or school. I want. That's the next when we talk Thursday, Friday. I want to find out who some of these hey, this kid, everyone's talking about him at the draft because, I know that Belichick used to love those guys. At the same time, I feel like Vrabel thinks he can fix them too. So I'm looking for some of the storylines, and we're going to be watching it here. I know we'll join us tomorrow. We're going to do late nights this week, Alex. So appreciate you doing that, man. Enjoy your time in Indy, and hey, man, this is your time of year. This is the Barth time to shine.
Yeah, it'll be a fun week. I'm looking forward to it.
You got it, Alex. Appreciate your time, man. We'll catch up tomorrow night.
Thanks, Joe.
You got it. He's Alex Barth, everyone. He's going to be at the Combine, and he'll have all the updates for us. He'll be joining most of the shows here as well. So I love Combine time because you know what, Skaz? We're going to have to do it. Do you want to talk Bruins or Combine? Do you want to talk Red Sox in their shiny new toys in the Grapefruit League, or the Combine, or Hooters, or the Combine, or Steve Smith, or the Combine? We're going to do it all here on the night show.
You might have to have Barth do some double duty, Joe, and have him scout out your Indiana Pacers while he's out there.
Oh, that's right.
You know?
What's going on with them? We'll do some Celtics talk coming up next with the Green Teamer himself. His name is, well, the Green Teamer host himself. Skaz will do it next. I'm Joe Murray here on the Sports Hub.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, this is Boston's home for sports.
He scored! What a blast by Boston! Waiting, holiday dream. Good night!
WBZFM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Well, we just heard from Alex Barth, who'll be at the Combine this week. The real workouts begin on Thursday, but a lot of registration and weighing of players, and getting them in their skivvies, seeing what they look like, talking to their coaches or whatever. So the Combines this week, Shedeur Sanders, Ashton Genty, Abdul Carter will not work out. Matthew Stafford, though, permission to speak to other teams, Giants, Browns, Steelers, Raiders, all have shown interest in him. Alex Van Pelt's got a new gig with the Rams, of course. He'll be an offensive assistant. Red Sox, Yankees canceled today. Headlines are brought to you by Awaken Immunity Weight Loss with a 98% customer satisfaction rating and thousands of 5-star reviews. The choice is clear. AwakenImmunityWeightLoss.com. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update is in 30 minutes.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today.
The Knicks made this interesting, and full marks for them for that extraordinary third quarter comeback to make this a game. As Bridges misses a three to end the game. The New York Knicks 3 times to challenge the reigning and defending world champion Celtics at 3 times. They have come up empty 7 times this year. They faced the top 3 teams in the NBA, and 7 times they have come up empty. The final score this afternoon, Boston 118, New York 105.
Talk Celtics. Well, no. I mean, it's about championships, right? Like, are we watching greatness or not? You can laugh all you want, roll your eyes at my comment, but it's fact. The Celtics are the best team in the NBA. And we've been telling you this all year long. This isn't a, whoa, they're in a funk. When they were in a funk, I was telling you that everything's going to be fine. Skaz was doing podcasts with Jay Stu every week. Green Teamers. The numbers weren't great. They've been dealing with things. I think the Hauser back injury hurt them. I think at first, when Porzingis came back, they were 5-5. What are they now? What are they now with Porzingis, by the way? And you know what else they're doing now? They used to just launch. Don't get me wrong. Did they come down the court and just launch? Yes. You know what they're doing now? High pick and rolls with big men. No, they're actually like, hey, hi, come here. Set the screen, and you'll see Porzingis come up for the screen, and then he sets the screen, and then they follow Tatum, and then what do? He just passes it back to Porzingis, who knocks it in your face. It's easy. It's simple. And the Knicks, they can't stop it. The Cavs can't stop it. Nobody can stop it. It's simple. You put the ball in Jason Tatum's hands. You tell Luke Cornett to come and set a screen. He tries to. And then he does, and then they kick it to him, and then when they go at him, he just lobs it over the top to the other guy that's wide open. Like, it's simple. It's high pick and roll. Something that has been happening since Hoosiers, the movie. Right? Sometimes they do the double screen. You ever see that thing every once in a while? It's high pick and roll. Who do you want to defend? Do you want to defend the 3 or defend the guy with the ball? Because then the ball handler will run right by you. The Knicks, have nothing for the Celtics. Nothing. They can't defend it. They can't score against them. You know what it is when the Celtics finally say, all right, I've had enough today. That's when Karl Anthony Towns wants to start to play. And that's when Jalen Brunson wants to start to play. And who was their big acquisition this year? How's he doing? How are those 4 first-round draft picks going?
5.
They stink. Now, on paper, they look great, right? What do they have, 39 wins or something? They stink. And Karl Anthony Towns, he stinks too. I was going to be kind. He stinks too. He looks out of shape. He can't defend. He can't do anything offensively. He can't stop a damn pick and roll. You're a big man, like ball man. Who do you want to cover? They're supposed to be a defensive-minded team under Thibodeau. What happened?
Karl Anthony Towns plays zero defense. And to those basketball nerds out there, the 40-20 club is kind of a big deal when it comes to championship-level basketball. You want to win 40 games before you lose 20. That's kind of like the in the NHL being in the playoff race by Thanksgiving. That's like the NBA equivalent, is that to be a serious title contender, you need 40 wins before you have 20 losses. The Knicks yesterday fell to 37-20. So they are no longer, not that I ever thought they were, but they are not a serious title contender. And just on the mismatch they have against the Celtics, the Celtics and the Knicks have played 144 minutes of basketball this year head-to-head. The Celtics have trailed the Knicks for a combined 50 seconds in those 3 games.
What do you think what do you think the plus-minus is?
No, it's
high 60s?
Astronomical. Tatum this year against the Knicks, 25-10-9, 37-4-10, 40-6-4. They dominate the Knicks. The Knicks are an afterthought at this point.
All they do, guys, the Celtics aren't doing anything. That is hard. They're challenging a big on the Knicks to play high pick-and-roll basketball. This is the stuff. I'm watching North Carolina and Florida State right now. The point guard, all he's got to do is come up, tell the big man to come up and screen, right? The thing is there are people that don't even cover Jason Tatum when he does the high pick and roll. Like how many times again? We're having this conversation again. How many times has Jason Tatum gone directly to the basket for a slam dunk? It's the last week or so. He's had maybe 10, more maybe. It's a high pick and roll. You have a big man, and you have a guard, and they don't know what to do. And if you leave one of them wide open, they're going to kill you. And it's the big men. Last night at one point yesterday, they had Luke Cornett and Porzingis on the court. The Knicks could do nothing. They're not reinventing the wheel. They're not passing the ball 5 times. What they're doing is when they do the high pick and roll, at times they throw it into the big man. Well, there's a mismatch. Did you see yesterday? Who's the guy that had the hostile act that was a flop? Josh Hart? Did you see Porzingis on him at one point? He gets the ball at the foul line, and he realizes he's got Hart on him. He takes 2 steps and just lobs it right in. So it's like, I want to credit Porzingis because he is the difference here. I know that Cornette's been a part of it, and at times Horford's in the mix. But when Cornette is the screener, he's going to kill you from 3, or he's going to crush you on a mismatch. I'm serious when I tell you this. The Celtics are the best team in the league as far as talent goes, but nobody can stop their high pick and roll. It is so simple. This is the stuff you learned in CYO basketball or in rec league. It's high pick and roll, and they are doing it constantly to the New York Knicks, and nobody can stop it. The other thing I wanted to mention on Tatum is this. The last 5 games, right? He's gone for 46-4, 33-8-2, 32-14-7, 15-10-11 for a triple-double, and last night he was an assist shy, 25-10-9 of a triple-double. They're 9-1 in their last 10 games. Tatum is averaging 7 assists per game during this stretch. He has 3 games where 10 or more assists. High pick and roll. The other pick and roll ball handler is Derek White, who during that stretch is averaging 17 points per game and is 37 of 82 from 3. Joe Math, 45%. They're killing them on the high pick and roll. It's simple. It's easy. No one can defend it. They're the best in the league at this right now. And we could talk more and more about the Celtics and this run that they have, but they're not doing anything that, like last night, I'll pull up how many threes they had, by the way. And I know that, they shoot. And did the Knicks get back in the game? Well, they finally woke up. They did not even get off the bus. That thing, I even said they tapped out early in the game. So looking at the threes yesterday, the Celtics shot 44. They made 17. So they shot 39% from 3. That's pretty good, right? And they didn't get much from their bench. I know Cornette made a little bit of an impact. But did Pritchard go off? No. It was their starting 5. It was Tatum's 25. It was Porzingis 15. It was Holiday, who, by the way, is playing well. I got a bad source that told me that he might be injured. Bad source. I'll admit it. I'm not a reporter, so I don't source. 14 points, 6 of 9 shooting from the field, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. But Derek White and Jaylen Brown, you got a theme with these guys here? When Derek White's going, the Celtics get going. Tatum's been the most consistent all year long, but I told you guys this. I gave you the numbers. It was before the Four Nations final. Jaylen Brown, second half post-All-Star break last year, took huge steps. And he's already on pace to get back to those numbers. And when he's right, this team can't be beat. And there were a couple of times where Brown was in the post. I know that Jalen Brunson had a scenario where he was in the post against Jaylen Brown, took a charge, and then did it again against Porzingis. Besides that, though, when he played defense on the high pick and roll, he got crushed. I mean, it kind of sucks when your two best players, Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, can't do the high pick and roll. And if you look at the New York numbers, yeah, Towns had 24, Brunson had 22, Josh Hart had 20. And I think the rebounding edge went to the Celtics yesterday. Celtics out-rebounded them 49-40. Absolutely incredible day. Any other thoughts on the Celtics, guys? Because I think Tatum is on one right now. I mentioned Derek White. They're the two guys with the ball in the high pick and roll. Porzingis has been really good, consistent. We mentioned Drew Holiday has been pretty good. Pritchard's awesome.
Derek White looks back, too.
Yep,
Derek White's been playing
looks back.
Back to that elite level fans can come and expect. But I also think Torrey Craig's been good. Another win for Brad Stevens, a guy who at 34, you had questions about his legs, about, just where he was going to fit on the team, but he looks great. He's a very good three-point shooter. He's more athletic, has more jump juice in his legs than I would have thought at 34. A guy that's played, 70-plus playoff games in his career. Looks like he can be a legit rotational piece for this team in the playoffs. And I think that's just, another small thing that'll help them, hopefully repeat.
How about the defense?
Yeah, the defense is just all about buy-in, and it's just all about them showing up early and playing defense. And I thought they punched the Knicks in the mouth to start that game yesterday. It was, Porzingis 3, Derek White tough layup, Drew turnaround jumper, on the baseline. Just they're impossible to guard when they're playing like that. And you saw it. And I think Tatum, like you said, Tatum has been maybe playing his best basketball ever of his NBA career. He looks so complete.
He makes everyone else look better.
It's really, it's simple.
Now listen, Larry Bird would do this. And again, I know that you and I are at the age where we didn't watch a lot of Larry Bird, but Tatum really is making everybody better. Everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. They rely on him. You could almost say they're relying on him too much, I think, at times, but that's who he is right now. He's running the point. The ball's constantly in his hands. His usage rate when it's high, they're basically undefeated. Everything he's doing just looks smooth, quiet. He's in control. This is a very minor thing, but something that me and Jay Stu talked about yesterday on the podcast is watch Tatum's threes this year. Watch how he's taking them. Watch his approach to taking them too, and not just when he's wide open. I noticed it a little bit against the Knicks where in the past when he'd come up and he'd take the three that you all hate on the fast break, he'd be on the wing and be left open and he would take it. He would be kind of off balance or leaning to his left or to his right, whatever it was. And we've mentioned Drew Hanlon, his trainer that he's been with forever. I think something that's very different in Tatum's game this year is his balance when he's shooting. He used to constantly...
Oh, he's got the beef?
I don't know.
The balance and the elbow in?
But it's almost Ray Allen-esque, where at times he would look like he was leaning to the left or leaning to the right or kicking his feet out too much on these transition threes or just threes in general when he was taking them. This year he looks way more straight up and down, way more in control. It's like that Ray Allen thing where he can be running full speed, and then when he gets the ball in his hands, he still finds a way to find that center and just be straight up and down. So it's just those little things where Jason Tatum, 3 times in a row, All-NBA first team, still finding little ways to get better.
Just real quick on the Tatum stuff, have you seen a little bit of a shift in talk about Tatum this weekend?
Yeah, Joe, you know why it's happening? Because it's undeniable. Because the facts are there. You can't ignore it anymore.
Yeah.
The resume is there. And guess what? They know he's going to be there again at the end of the spring, early summer.
There's this little shift in the media.
Oh, what a surprise. The guy
so
that
good.
has won since he stepped foot into the league and has been, all NBA
Somebody
first
called
team,
him underrated.
setting playoff records and Celtics records. Not a hard thing to do by any means.
But he's been on national TV beating the best teams in the league, and he's the star.
You can't
every
ignore
night.
it. You can't ignore it anymore, Joe.
By the way, one thing on Kornet that I wanted to mention, high pick and roll and how it's so easy. Kornet has 74 screen assist points over the last 10 games. So, he's doing the screen. The ball goes to him. Porzingis shoots it for the most part. Kornet, though, somehow, can just... I never realized how good of a passer Kornet was.
Yeah. Well, how do you think Knicks fans feel watching him getting picked apart by Kornet and Porzingis?
To me, I think he's been better than Hauser this year.
I think Kornet's been, and
I know he's a role
Pritchard, guy. They're maybe their best guy off the bench all year.
Dude, offensive rating, he's slightly behind Hauser, second off the bench. I'll take that. We'll take it. We got to take a quick break. We have Jim McBride of the Globe doing a little nighttime action with us. So we'll get his thoughts on everything happening with the Bruins. Celtics stuff still on the table. We're here all night, Scaz. I'm Joe Murray, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening.
think the white flag was thrown up after the loss the other night on Saturday against Anaheim?
Well, I think more so Sunday afternoon when we spoke to Don Sweeney. That was kind of as defeatist as I've ever heard him in my time on the beat. So yeah, it felt a little like that. His comments about not being overly aggressive at the trade deadline. It felt a little bit like that, and maybe that was a subliminal message to the team, like, hey, we've done everything we can. It's up to you guys. I'm not sure, but it definitely struck a different tone than we're used to hearing.
What is your overall grade for Don Sweeney over the last 9 years? I mean, the draft aside, he's always made moves at the deadline to improve the team, and even when they didn't need to make moves, they sacrificed the future. Would you say it was a success, Don Sweeney's last 9 years here in Boston?
Yeah, I guess overall, I would say it would. I mean, I even look at the free agent signings in July. They haven't worked out, but I think at the time when he signed Elias Lindholm and Nikita Zadorov, I think most Bruins fans and most people around the league would say those were good moves. They needed another defenseman, a physical guy. They needed a 200-foot center, and those were probably the best two targets on the market for those categories. Now, certainly they haven't worked out, and you could take issue with how much those contracts were for, but when you were looking at the personnel, those were the guys that you'd probably, would have targeted. So I don't blame them for those signings. I just think that they certainly haven't worked out the way, anyone would have envisioned, and including those two players. So, it's strange.
Well, I agree with you. Like, at times, Sweeney's done everything he could to bolster the team. Everything.
Yeah.
And he's made really good NHL trades. But would you say they're in this spot because of maybe trading a lot of those first-round picks over the year and really having nothing else in the minor leagues?
Yeah, I mean, he traded away a lot of what you'd have, your restocking, maybe you'd call it, your draft picks, your younger players, to get players that he thought would help. And even 2 years ago when they were on that record regular season, They were aggressive at the trade deadline to get some guys that they thought they needed: Bertuzzi, Hathaway, Dmitry Orlov, and I think those were the right moves. But unfortunately, that was that playoff season crash and burn. But the moves he makes when you make them, I don't think there's ever this big gasp like, oh, I can't believe he did that. Now they haven't worked out, in the long run term, but I still think he does a really good job, and he thinks. That the moves he makes are the correct moves, and I don't think you can fault him for being aggressive.
We'll talk with Jim McBride of the Boston Globe on the Bees. Do you think that they have these pillars going forward here with McAvoy, Pasternak, and Swayman? Is that a good foundation to build around for the future?
Yeah, I think so. I think guys got off to slow starts earlier this year, but. I still think that those are three, cornerstone guys that every franchise has to have. And I think, even Brad at his age, he's still, a really reliable guy. He's probably going to end up with 30 goals. So I think the foundation's there. And the other three are still pretty young guys. I know McAvoy's in his 7th or 8th year, but I still consider him a pretty young guy in his 20s. So, I think the foundation's there. They just need more pieces. And I think the news from 2 weeks ago that the salary cap is going up, pretty significantly in the next 2 years, that's going to help them.
Let's just hammer out a couple of things happening on the ice. The Hampus Lindholm injury, he tried to come back from it at one point with practice, and now he's done for the year. Just thinking about Lindholm and what happened this year and what they've given up for him, he's a part of their future, obviously, here, but that's a huge blow. And I guess, have you heard anything else on the Charlie McAvoy situation?
Haven't heard anything more. I'd be very surprised if you saw Charlie at all the rest of the season. I think the only thing that would change that philosophy is if they went on a tear here, like a 8 to 10 game winning streak and got them solidly in the playoff picture. Then maybe he pushes it to try and come back. But I don't think they want to rush Charlie, especially after, the way they termed it, a significant shoulder injury and then the infection on top of that. If he has a significant AC injury, I don't think you want to push that unless unless he heals quickly and they make a push, like I said. But other than that, I think you're probably without your top two guys. And the Lindholm thing was unfortunate. He had started practicing with the team in a non-contact jersey, and then he was back full without the contact jersey. And we were all thinking, those of us that are there every day, hey, he's right on the precipice here of returning. And obviously he had a setback with in terms of the hardware. So whatever screws were put in place to fix that kneecap were obviously aggravating him. So just really unfortunate.
Hey, Jim, Don Sweeney mentioned that he's probably not going to trade any high assets, meaning first-round picks, et cetera. Do you think that came from ownership? And how do you think he handles the trade deadline? And do you think his job's at risk as well?
I'm not sure that his job is at risk. I mean, he has had a pretty good track record of making the playoffs, and that's generally a benchmark for whether you've done a good job or not. I know that they're kind of dangling right now, but I think the decisions are his and Cam's. I don't think it's ownership that comes down and says you can't do this or you can't do that. I think he just feels the temperature of the league right now and of his organization and says he probably can't afford to trade away any more assets because they're not right there, a top contending team. And I think he kind of alluded to that yesterday when, talking about last year and the year before, when they're in a position where they think they can, make a deep run, he's going to make those trades. And I don't think he feels the confidence in this roster right now that they can do that. So that's probably him saying, hey, I'm not trading guys if we're not going to make a big push here. And he always kind of measures things and says, now things can change quickly. Like I say, if you do go on a run, maybe he does. I did ask him specifically if the money that's available now on a long-term injury, with Lindholm, does that change his philosophy of the trade deadline? Because now they have some money to play with if they wanted to trade a bigger name, or for a bigger name. But do you want to do that for a team that's probably at best first round out?
Yeah, and who knows what would happen with the McAvoy money if they wanted to do that too? They'd have some space to play around. But Jim, I've been asking.
You'd have to pay those guys next year, right?
That's true, right?
Then you'd have all four guys, and there goes your salary cap again. So it's a tough, it's a catch-22.
I've been asking everybody that we had Anson Carter on last week. Who would be the next Bruins head coach? He mentioned Quenneville. I just wanted to spitball some names. Is there anybody? Sacco's been fine, and he has to deal with the mess here. But is there anyone you think that would be the right fit to lead the Bruins into their next stage here?
Boy, I haven't really thought about it beyond Sacco, because I think that I think they'd love to give him a chance to have a whole season under his belt, not come in and be the interim guy. But I think I'd have a better answer at the end of the season when I saw who was available. But Quenneville is a name that has had a lot of success. So, maybe I'll just jump on that bandwagon for now.
Just to back up on that, do you think that Bruins fans should maybe expect another year of Sacco and Sweeney?
I think right now, it's I'm probably borrowing a line from Cam Neely. Like, you've got to prepare for two paths, right? One with and one without. So I'm not really sure. I think, probably no decisions will be made until they see what actually plays out in these next, 5 games before the trade deadline. And then we'll probably have a clearer picture of what they're thinking and what Bruins fans should probably think.
Well, I know you've gone from the Patriots beat to the Bruins beat, so things are different in hockey, right? In football, they just, next coach, next guy up, next offensive coordinator. I don't know either how it works in hockey, and I don't even know what the Bruins want to do with their absentee ownership and all that. I did want to ask just about the Four Nations final, the whole process of it all. It was success for the league. Do you think it will help the NHL, and what was the experience like for you?
Yeah, I thought it was tremendous hockey. I mean, the pace of games, the tempo was it was amazing to see all those talented players on the ice. And, from the week in Montreal to the week down here, it was a win for everyone. The NHL, the NHLPA, the fans. I think that it was I think they would have loved to have put on a full-fledged World Cup leading into the next year's Olympics. They just didn't have the time to do that. And and they wanted to have a best on best tournament because the players had for so long made it clear to the NHL and the players union that they wanted best on best hockey, and this was the best way to satisfy it, to get those, to get 4 teams that they knew they could fill out rosters with NHL only players. And I think it turned out terrific, and it whetted everyone's appetite for next year's Olympics. I mean, fervent hockey fans were into it, and casual hockey fans were into it. So I don't think the NHL could have asked for anything better, and I thoroughly enjoyed the 2 weeks.
All right, Jim, I appreciate you taking a few minutes here at night. Continue the great work. We'll see what happens just a couple of weeks away from the NHL trade deadline. It's Jim McBride of the Boston Globe. Jim, appreciate you taking a few minutes tonight.
Thanks for having me, Joe. Take care.
You got it. Jim McBride of the Boston Globe joining us here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. And, well, another year of Sweeney and Sacco. I don't know if I can do that, Skaz. I just don't know if Sweeney, Sacco, 25, 26. I don't know. That I don't know. Sweeney, Sacco, 26, out. I think I'm out. And the thing is right, I keep asking people, who would be the next guy? No one has an answer. I wonder if the Bruins have one. Anyways, we'll see you guys. I see you guys lined up on the phone lines. We'll get to you. Let's hit the headline real quick. I'm Joe Murray here on the Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Well, NFL Combines this week. Shedeur Sanders, Ashton Genty, and Abdul Carter will not do workouts, but Matthew Stafford, he's got permission to speak with other teams, and the Giants, Browns, Steelers, and Raiders have all shown interest. Alex Van Pelt, former Patriots offensive coordinator, has joined the Rams as an offensive assistant, and Red Sox Yankees today was canceled. Headlines, they are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update soon.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
Awaken your
All right, back here at 98.5, the Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. Street Team Joe is here. We got our intern, Trent. You have to understand, it's usually just me and Skaz, or Skaz and I. So having two people here, I'm like, look for this story, and look for that story, and Trent, do this. And it's like, this is great. Is this what it's like having multiple people, Skaz? Doing a drive time show?
It's nice, Joe.
It's fantastic. And Joe comes in and he goes, hey, man, some night, man, I'm going to bring in some McNuggets, man, and I'm going to give you the best sauce ever. All right, dude. Don't threaten me with a good time. Do you know how many times, my voice is killing me. Do you know how many times someone this week told me about the McNugget story? The McNugget, all right, so last week, Kendra was in studio, and she said how she likes honey on her McNuggets. I've heard from a ton of people. We had a live taste test on the air. The amount of people that are like, hey, Joe, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Have you tried that? So I know you're listening. Thank you. And the ratings this week proved it, so thank you all very much. But now, I'm very interested in more sauces of nuggets. So one night, Joe's going to bring it in, and maybe we'll do a blindfold taste test. That would be fun. Let's take some calls. Steve's in Quincy. He's been holding. Hey, Steve.
Hey, how's it going, Joe?
How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm all right. How you doing?
All right, man. Hey, listen, I just want to talk about the Pats real quick. I mean, obviously, everyone's pretty happy with what we got in Drake, man. I mean, Mac Jones turned into a bombshell his second year too. But you know, they're going to surround him with receivers, and there's so many mock drafts on ESPN. You don't know what to believe. But all I can say is that and I don't think this is going to happen, but if this kid out of Colorado, what's his name, Thompson, that plays cornerback and wide receiver.
Travis Hunter. Yep.
Travis Hunter. I'm sorry. If he drops off and they don't take him, I mean, he's the generation talent that everyone's talking about. So if they don't take him, if they take like an offensive guard out of Boise State, I swear to God, we're going to be looking back at the days of Steve Grogan and Tony Eason.
Yeah, Steve, I think there's a lot of talent on the board. Appreciate your call. I think there's a lot of talent on the board. Now, how many blue chip talents do I think are in this draft? Maybe 3 or 4. Listen, I'm not going to bore you with the draft stuff. I'm not. But I watch a lot of college football, and I think there are a lot of players that can instantly help the Patriots. Now, the expectation of the Patriots potentially going from, 3 or 4 wins to 6 next year, maybe some people have those expectations. I don't. I think they're a 6 and 11 team probably. And I am curious about the next step for Drake May. Can Drake May stay healthy for a full season? That's number 1. The late game interceptions is 2, and 3. Does he still run like he did last year, or do they put the training wheels on him a bit? A lot of questions when it comes to that. Benny in Oxford. Benny.
Hey, what's going on, Joe? A little too early to talk Patriots for me. I'm not ready for it yet. Probably after the draft. I'm
not either yet, but the one thing with the draft though is I do think it's better than maybe we think it is.
Yeah. Okay. I'll allow for that.
Yeah. What'd you think of the New York Knicks last night?
I thought it was a comedy show last night, man. I thought all 3 games have been a nice, enjoyable comedy show, nice exhibition games for the Celtics. And Knicks just aren't at that level. And I think we talked about Bridges after that trade happened. I think we were on the same page. I just don't see how it's going to affect playing the Celtics. I think we talked about it when the trade happened. I called in one night when it happened. And it's just you see it.
Do you know what is wild about that? I think Bridges is good. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. But they could have been in the Luka Doncic mix. Like they could. I mean, they could be in the other big time. Like if Giannis became available, like. So that's. I think they wasted their chance on acquiring another big time player.
And like even what the Cavs did this trade deadline, adding DeAndre Hunter, like that might have even been a better fit. See, obviously hindsight now, better fit than what Bridges is doing now for that team. I don't know, man. That next team is just not it. And this whole Mitchell Robinson coming to save us, I'm like, sorry guys, like, no, he's not.
No, he is not.
Like, you expect him to be on the 3-point line? He's going to be running those same pick and rolls. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, they'll run a double big. I was getting texted that too. Karl Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson. I'm like, all right, that's fine. You can have Robinson play KP, and what are you going to expect Cat to guard Tatum? Brown? Holiday? Like, what? It just doesn't work. The matchup's just awful. And the Celtics just proved that. And I think you talked about the plus minus. I think it's at plus 65.
Mm.
And that's because Bridges decided to finally show up in the last 2 minutes yesterday's game and hit some threes to make that game a 15-point game as opposed to the 25.
I'm not worried about those leads that they blow because they win.
No.
Like if they blow the lead and then lose it, I'm like, oh well, they like I think yesterday, and I'm not trying to give them a pat on the back for this, but when you get out to a 27-point lead, you're like, all right, this thing's over. You know what I mean? Like you don't play as hard, you know.
I agree. I will say something that does upset me a little bit so Jason Tatum obviously runs usually 4 bench players, and he does fine. Jason Tatum's otherworldly. He's a great player. Obviously, you guys know I love him. The Jaylen Brown offense, where it slows down too much for my liking. I don't know if Skaz, you agree with it or not. But it just slows down way too often. He's dribbling the air out of the ball and looking for like 10 different screens. Like, just keep the ball moving. I wish they would continue playing a little faster. It happened during the second quarter yesterday.
It did, man.
It's just too slow for my liking.
Yeah, I think there's a game on Friday night that I think we're all going to be interested in. I hope the Cavs bring their A game. I really do, because the last game I saw, again, they attacked who? Towns and Brunson. They're going to attack Garland again this week. I don't know. Maybe they're a little bit bigger and their bigs can play the high pick and roll, but to me, I don't know. Tatum and the Celtics made some sort of deal where they're going to play better at home, and I just can't see them not holding up that end of the bargain.
Yeah, and what are they, 2-1 against the Cavs, and now 1 loss? I think Donovan Mitchell went 9 for 9 in the fourth quarter.
Exactly.
And they still won by 3.
Yep.
So,
should be good, my man.
Should be good.
All right,
Benny. Calling in.
We'll catch up to you, buddy.
See you guys.
Thank you. One more, because we have in or out next. Tom's on the Bay Area. Hey, Tom.
Hey, what's up, Joe? I just want to get your thoughts on the combine with, Ashton Genty, Abdul Carter, these star guys saying they're not going to test. They're only going to interview. I mean, part of them filming this and making it a fan experience is to see all these guys, how they test out, how fast they actually are, how strong they are. I don't get why they're allowed to just kind of skip out on this.
Well, there's pro days. So we asked Barth about this earlier because he's going to be at the combine all week, and he thinks that like Ashton Genty doesn't need to. Now Shedeur Sanders is probably doesn't want to show some of his weaknesses. You know what I mean? If he does it at home with Travis Hunter on their field, well, there's a little bit of comfort there, and he might look better. So the neutral site angle of it might actually hurt the prospects instead of. So I see why they do it. Plus the NIL money, man. Like, they're getting all that money in college. Why do they need to go risk anything at the combine?
Do you see this combine still being a thing in years to come with guys opting to just do their pro days instead?
Yes, because I think where you're drafted still matters, and it's all about money, right? So I do think so, but linemen have to do this. Defensive linemen have to do this. Linebackers have to do this, right? Like, defensive backs will have to do this. It's really the skilled players that won't have to. And I think, I think the combine's a great event. I really do.
I do too. Yeah, I just hate to see the top guys kind of skip out on it.
NIL, baby. That's what's happened.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Tom. Thank you. All right, we got in or out coming up next here on the Sports Hub.
What's it gonna be, McFly? Are you in or out?
gotta know without a doubt. I'm the one you need for a dirty deed. I'm the best. Success is... Guy has one eyebrow. Right? Is it a unibrow still, even though it's one eyebrow?
Yeah, that would be a unibrow.
It's still a unibrow?
One big one.
Plus, like, the ladies of New York now get some bearded men.
This feels like a Costanzo like side plot or something where like he dates a girl that likes beards and now he has to convince the Yankees to allow beards.
Yeah. Like, I have a beard.
Why now? That's my question.
Maybe they're thinking about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Maybe Vladimir Guerrero said he'd never play for the Yankees because of a facial hair.
I saw people being like, oh, maybe it was Soto, but it's like Soto's never had a beard.
Maybe it was.
Maybe he wants to grow one. I don't know.
Maybe he does. Ah, man with a beard. Sometimes I can't. Now, Skaz, I know you have a little peach fuzz back there.
Yeah, nothing too crazy.
And Trent's still like a young boy.
Yeah, baby face Trent back here.
Does Joe have any?
He's got a little scruff.
Yeah, I don't know if I could trust someone with a baby face. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen any photos of what I look like with no facial hair. You don't want to.
I was gonna say I've seen maybe a basketball picture or two, but I think even in that you got some scruff coming through. Yeah.
I will not have I will always have a beard or facial hair.
Always,
because I look like a creep. But I'm in on this.
All right, Joe, another sports one for us on this Monday night. Kevin Garnett expected to join the Timberwolves front office upon their new ownership change. Are you in or out on KG in a front office role?
In. So the franchise is now the owner of the franchise.
The franchise is now maybe the GM of the franchise.
Oh, so he made a lot of money. If you want to look up how much overall money, Kevin Garnett was the trailblazer in making money.
He was one of the first like $100 million contracts, I think. Yeah,
and that's why they call him the franchise. And you know, how some guy said when you're a hockey player, you can't shut it off. I don't know if Garnett ever did shut it off.
And I think it's a great thing that he hasn't. And if you watch the Pearson Garnett thing, I think something that's unique about their show is they're, almost effusive in their praise for the next generation. Like, they constantly give these guys, their quote-unquote flowers and tell you how great they are, this next generation. And I think that's kind of rare, especially, unfortunately in the NBA media where not even just former players, but media members in general, it's way easier to tear down the league than it is to, build it up and talk about the talent that is there. And I think it's something Jaylen Brown's talked about where he really credits Pearson Garnett for how they talk about the next generation and, the actual games and the players that are, currently elevating the league. So I think having Garnett in that role for the Timberwolves would be, a nice step for them and, KG repairing that relationship.
And I like it.
All right, Joe. Now to the fun stuff. Where do you want to start, Joe? Do you want to start with food or movies?
Food.
All right. I had a feeling. Joe, it was announced over the weekend that Applebee's and IHOP will be opening a dual-branded restaurant in Texas that features items from both locations. Joe Murray, are you in or out on a dual-branded Applebee's and IHOP restaurant?
So wait a second. I could get a riblet platter with home fries and French toast.
Throw some pancakes in there.
Or I could just put the pulled pork on top of my pancakes. And then put syrup on it. Oh, that's in. Are you a home fries or a hash brown guy?
Both.
I want home. I like the potato. I don't like the string.
It's the Irishman in you.
Yeah, well, I think so. I like the potatoes. Are you a sausage or bacon?
I probably lean more bacon.
How do you get your eggs made?
Over easy, sunny side up.
You're a sunny side up over easy. Okay,
yeah,
I like it scrambled, but I like it over easy over hash. Oh, imagine an over easy hash egg on top of a pancake.
Do you do the hangover burger? Do you like an egg on top of the burger?
So, do you know that Jeremy was the one who introduced me to this?
Oh, that surprises me.
The Jeremy Conley's like, you ever had this? And I go, dude, I've never had egg on a burger. And now I've had it, and I love the yolk. all over the beef. Just gooing everywhere with cheese and beef. So good. Sometimes I like to dip my fries or my home fry in the goo.
The goo?
You know, the yolk. Oh, that's such a good crossover. We should start thinking about other good crossovers. Like Taco Bell KFC was an excellent crossover. Absolutely. Who else who else owns each other? Like a Pizza Hut. What's the wing place that we the one with the Wingstop and Pizza Hut are the same company. Could I get like a Detroit style pizza? Oh, with wings. Or like, could I dip some of their ranch sauce, my crust in the ranch? Oh, we need more on this. Keep going. I got to think of more combinations now.
All right, Joe, we'll head to the world of movies for our next few. Leonardo DiCaprio is in talks to star as Evel Knievel in a biopic directed by Damien Chazelle. Joe Murray, are you in or out on Leo as Evel Knievel?
I love Leo. Do I need him to be Evel Knievel, though? No. Is he, like, trying to get wild now? Like, to his young girlfriends, he makes him look old, doesn't it?
Do you think they know who Evel Knievel is?
No, that's what I mean. Doesn't it look old?
Trent does not know
Does Trent know who Evel Knievel
does
is?
Not know. Does not know who Evel Knievel is.
Look, Google it. He was like the first Daredevil ever. Ever. Right?
Johnny Knoxville before Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah, exactly. And Evel Knievel like used to be like, come watch Evel Knievel today at the...
Watch him jump over the Grand Canyon or something.
Joe? Not Hobbs and Shaw.
The other guys, he's very briefly.
The other guys,
but he's very briefly.
I liked him in Central Intelligence. I liked him in The Scorpion King.
He's not a good actor. He's not. Cena and Batista much better. All right, Joe. We'll end with this one tonight. Marlon Wayans says they're going to make White Chicks 2. His quote: "It's time." Joe Murray.
In. Now, all right, listen, we're in a different time warp now. And I don't know what's offensive and what's not anymore, so we don't do it on the radio. But, like, if you had to pick a song now to sit in the back seat and jam out, what would the new song be?
It might be Espresso, Joe.
Ooh.
We bringing Terry Crews back? You think Terry Crews comes back?
Yeah. Because what was the song? Making my way downtown, down and down. Was that the song?
And I'm home now.
Yeah. I feel like it could be, I'm drunk in the back of my car. Something, crying home from a bar.
They might just bring back Vanessa Carlton. They
should bring her in it.
Yeah.
Like they're doing, it's like the movie starts and they're doing a detail for Vanessa Carlton. And it's like violins, dun, 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 and I miss you. Please tell me people know what I'm talking about. In on White Chicks, though. Hey, Marlon Wayans coming back to town. Do you know that? He was in Requiem for a Dream, which was wild. He did Above the Rim with Tupac. I know that he's and Don't Be a Menace While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood is one of my favorite movies. I grew up in a lot of black comedy, so like Marlon Wayans, in my opinion, is very good. And if you think about a lot of the like all the In Living Color people from the show, Damon Wayans came over, Sean Wayans came over. He was the DJ at first. I'm trying to think of who else came. Well, Jim Carrey was the big one that came from there, but I like David Allen Greer, Tommy Davis. Oh, Jamie Foxx. He was with them too. Jamie Foxx is probably the biggest out of all of them, right? If I went through like the Wayans and Damon Wayans too. Wow, Jamie Foxx is the biggest out of all of them. What's he done? He did that Did you ever see that? He's on those BetMGM commercials a lot.
I think him and Cameron Diaz just had like a Netflix movie or something come out recently.
I like Django.
Very good.
That's deep. Leonardo was great in that movie. That was a good one.
Christoph Waltz.
So that's what I mean. Like, when you make a movie nowadays, what's insensitive, what's not? Like, you're crossing a lot of lines there.
You don't think we're going to get Tropic Thunder 2, Joe? You don't know if we're going to get that one?
What would the weed strain be this time? Joe, we love you. I love you. The Rock is a fun actor, but not a good one. His best role was Be Cool, only because it was funny. He had a pink bat. And you know what? I'm going to keep watching all The Rock was. It was like, hey, don't mess with Marcellus Wallace's wife. Okay, we didn't know who Marcellus Wallace was, did we? And then we found out who Marcellus Wallace was. And then we found out who, what is it, Zeke? Zeke? We found out that too. And then we found out the mysterious man living in the chest. Anyways, could The Rock do the movie without actually talking? Could he just be this guy that looks scary like Marcellus Wallace?
That's when you know you're a great actor.
That's a great acting job.
People want you to be in the movie but not speak.
People wanted to also let me know that J-Lo is a fly girl in Living Color. Yes, actually, she's the biggest. Sorry. She's the biggest. Jim Carrey was the weakest one on Living. I disagree. Dude, Fire Marshal Bill was huge. Homie the Clown? Huge. This is way over your guys' head. I sound old now. I sound old. Remember Wanda? No? Or Damon the Bum? You guys never saw it. You never watched In Living Color, did you?
No idea, Joe.
Never mind. Any Given Sunday? Do you like that?
Yeah, that was all right.
Zed. Zed's dead. What do I call him? Zeke? Zed. Anything else? Hey, are we going to talk about Hooters or not?
Joe, I sent you a message saying, Hooters breaking news, possibly filing for bankruptcy. And the text I got back from Joe Murray was, they'll be saved. Don't you worry. Hooters will be saved.
Listen. Hooters filed for bankruptcy. It doesn't mean they're closing. A lot of people have filed for bankruptcy and did not close. Yeah, see, Trent? You get it. Hooters can't die. Somebody will resurrect Hooters. Speaking of that, breaking news today. Sydney Sweeney and her marriage has been called off. Or delayed.
Thought you were going to hit us with the Steve Smith news, Joe.
Steve Smith, my man.
Tough weekend for Steve Smith. It couldn't happen on.
He had a bad weekend.
Maybe a weekend when something else was going on. We picked a tough weekend.
Bad weekend.
Tough timing.
But between Hooters, Sydney Sweeney's and Steve Sweeney, a lot going on there. Steve Sweeney. I used to work for Steve Sweeney. That's why I keep doing that. Well, Steve would have a joke for that one. I'd have to dump him, but he'd have a joke for it. Sydney Sweeney. Wow. I just went back to 2008. All right, we should break now. Hooters is going nowhere, everybody. We have to rally. We need a GoFundMe for Hooters. We need to save the wings. I bet you there already is one. I saw Dolph Ziggler, the wrestler. I've seen who was it? Devin Booker?
Devin Booker's devastated by the news.
Devin Booker's got enough money to save those wings.
He's apparently, I didn't know this about Devin Booker. Apparently, he's like the 1-1 Hooters guy. Like, if you go to his Twitter and type in Hooters, he's tweeted about it 50 times. So he could shell out a couple bucks.
He's got a lot of money.
Yeah.
Go shell it out. Shell it. Save Hooters. All right. GoFundMe for Hooters. We'll take a break. I'm Joe Murray here in the Sports Hub.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios.
This is your home for every Patriots game.
Into the end zone, try to keep the play alive. Falling down, he goes to the end zone. It's caught. He's got it. Touchdown.
WBZFM and HD Boston. 98.5, the Sports Hub.
A Beasley Media Group station.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, Matthew Stafford has seek permission, or has permission to speak, to other teams. The Giants, Browns, Steelers, Raiders all have shown interest. Alex Van Pelt back in the league. He joined the Rams as an offensive assistant, and the Red Sox and Yankees today were canceled. Headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray. Let's save Hooters.
New England plays here.
Ball down the right side. There's a separation. Yes. Touchdown pass. Yes. Perfect dime from Drake May.
98.5. The Sports Hub.
Play that? You guys ever heard of that? I'm Fire Marshal Bill. Put another shrimp on the barbie? No? You can do what you want to do in living color. In living color. No? Nothing?
Not getting any help back here, Joe. A lot of crickets in the back room right now.
A couple of people checking in. Sydney Sweeney should find investors to buy out Hooters. Another one says, call Dolly Parton. Ben is in Rhode Island. Hi, Ben.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. But seriously, The Rock not a good actor?
That's what Skaz thinks.
Wow, Skaz is out of his mind. Because look at Moana.
Moana, okay, all right. Uh-huh.
That was dope.
Is he acting in Moana?
He's singing. He's acting with his voice. That's even harder.
Strong disagree, but go ahead.
Go ahead, keep going. I like this.
He took singing lessons.
He did.
He even rapped a verse on a Tech Nine album.
Did you know The Rock?
Is that acting?
Well, it's not.
That's acting pretty dope at rapping.
Oh, it's acting,
and
okay.
He also, he was in Young Rock. What's that other show?
That got canceled.
On
Go
HBO.
ahead. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Ballers, that got canceled too, but I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked Ballers. Yeah, I did.
He played the Tooth Fairy.
He did? So didn't Hulk Hogan?
That I didn't know, but he's so versatile.
Yeah, I mean, he could go from cartoons to comedies to serious movies. I mean,
exactly.
I agree with you. I think he's outstanding.
Then why are you dogging him?
I'm the one. Skaz is dogging him.
Yeah,
sorry, it's tough to hear on my phone.
The Rock is such a great actor. Here's 2 canceled TV shows and a movie in which he played the Tooth Fairy. I'm not sure that's the strongest.
The character that he plays in wrestling itself, you think that's just... You think he walks around calling people jabroni every day?
I think he is an incredible entertainer.
Exactly.
But is it acting? Was Hulk Hogan a good actor?
No, that's a different thing.
But do you think John Cena is good?
No, because he just plays John Cena, but funny and family-ish, and depending on his role.
How about Batista?
Batista had no character anyway.
What about Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's a character actor.
That's true. He's a character actor. Roddy Piper.
Same thing. Most of those wrestlers play the character, but The Rock can play this Ballers guy. Did you watch Young Rock? Young Rock was cool.
I did watch Young Rock until it got canceled.
He did play himself.
He did?
No,
really good acting job playing himself.
Yep. Thanks, Ben. He did really.
Not exactly the greatest resume he brought to the argument. The Tooth Fairy, a couple canceled shows.
Yeah. Leno, what's up, Leno?
What's up, Joe? What's going on?
What are you doing?
Still here. My thing is, dude, Skaz is on the money, dude. All these people are crazy. Batista's role in Blade Runner, absolutely unreal. I don't understand how anybody can compare it to him.
I thought he was
else.
good in Escape Plan 2.
I've never seen that, but Blade Runner,
watch Escape Plan 1 is with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it's awesome.
But dude, go back and watch Blade Runner. His role in Blade Runner, let alone Guardians, but Blade Runner was the best one for Batista. So I would definitely put him above all of those other wrestlers. The Rock and everybody else just plays the same character every time. Batista actually has a little bit of a little bit more of character. Him just sitting at a table, just waiting to get caught, it was unreal. So Skaz, great job. Yeah, my main point was this whole talk about McMillan or whatever. I'm basically just on the Restrepo train. I don't understand why no one's talking about him.
I just saw it today that PFF had Tate McMillan as one of the top 4 picks. We'll do a lot of draft stuff, everybody.
Are you a Restrepo guy? The Miami wide receiver? I think that's who he's talking about. I'd have to guess.
I like him. Highsmith is still here, Skaz. There's a connection to Miami, right? So, yeah. I'm in. But at the same time, I would like them to get experienced receivers, Skaz. Oh, we got to go to break, don't we? Let's go to break. I see people lined up on the phone lines. We'll get to you next here in the Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
Somehow, the Rock movies has, like I told you, someone asked, hey, what's the Joe Show? And I said, well, it's about 90 minutes of drive time, and then everything just falls off the rails. Did you say that's the truth, Skaz?
Depending on the day of the week, give or take 90 minutes. But yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate.
A lot of people in our chat loved the In Living Color talk. It was such a good show. It was obviously Saturday Night Live had some heavy hitters. But, Keenan Ivory Wayans started it, directed it. Damon Wayans, he went on to some big movies. Did you ever see Major Payne, Skaz?
Yeah, Major Payne, that was right in my wheelhouse, Joe.
And Hillary from Will Smith, The Fresh Prince, was on the show. But Damon Wayans was in a lot of movies. And I love Tommy Davidson. There was some really good, I thought he was really, David Alan Grier, I know, was in Boomerang. I'm trying to think of some other stuff that he was in. But Damon Wayans, Mo Money, The Last Boy Scout, there was a guy as a running back, and he just had a gun under his pads and just would shoot people that tried to tackle him. True story? Well, it's movie true story. Last Action Hero was a blank, man. Oh, my God. Celtic Pride. Bulletproof. Was that with Adam Sandler, I believe? Anyways. And I believe one of their kids now is on the show Shrinking, which I like. I've only been two seasons in. So I'm interested in that.
We mentioned Jumanji earlier. David Alan Grier in the original Jumanji as well.
With Robin Williams.
He's the cop.
There you go. Hated it. No, I'm kidding. That's the bit that they did.
It all comes back. All comes full circle, Joe.
It all comes. Listen, there's great characters on SNL. Like Chris Farley, Man Down by the River.
Yeah, Stefan and more recent.
Stefan's good. Opera Man. There's a ton. Like Wayne and Garth, and they made movies, etc. But to me, Fire Marshal Bill, let me tell you something, and Homie the Clown were like amazing characters. And they're all on In Living Color. Have you seen the movie Doom? I believe The Rock is in Doom as well.
I have not. Are you going to tell me it's good?
Do you ever try to take a drink before you pop the top? Because that's what I just did. I'm drinking a fine Celsius tonight.
That was very Cedric Maxwell of you.
Snacks with Max. When's it happening? Oh, speaking of that, I'm watching A&E last night, and it's on WrestleMania 1. Roddy Piper, Mr. T. Rowdy did not like Mr. T. And Hogan saved the day because he said he did. When Hulk Hogan tells you, brother, I wasn't letting Mr. T out of my sight, brother. Then I didn't believe it anymore. I can't believe things that guy said. Ooh, Riz brought up a good one. Coneheads was really a good character. That was a good character as well. But, Sean Grande, though, last night on A&E's episode 1 of WrestleMania 1. So, shout out to Sean Grande, who was a part of the broadcast last night. I texted. Did I hit you up on that?
Oh, yeah. I got a couple messages. Hey, Sean's on wrestling. He's everywhere.
All right. Lots of calls. Let's go. Chris is in Worcester. Chris.
All right. Thank you very much. I have just two quickies. First of all, in Living Color, you missed the biggest actress that makes probably more than Jamie Foxx, Jim Carrey, was J-Lo. She was a dancer on In Living Color. So that's where she got her break, was in Living Color. J-Lo, that Jenny from the Block, in Living Color. So
yeah. When did you start listening to the show?
Just right now. When did you guys bring up J-Lo? I've been driving home from Boston for a while.
We definitely mentioned J-Lo was a fly girl.
I hate you. Then you got me. You got me. All right.
What part of Worcester are you from? What part of Worcester are you from?
Mill Street area near the airport.
Little Annie's hot dogs? Hot dog Annie's?
Yes, of course.
What do you get? What do you get on your hot dog Annie's?
I'm just a relish in yellow mustard guy, really, and onions, yellow mustard, and regular relish. That's all I do, and I don't do the chili dog. I just don't. I'm an old school relish, yellow mustard, and some onions. Love it.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, the airport in Worcester, I got to drop a little hot dog Annie's in there, you know. We got two Trevors. One's in Nashua. Hey, Trevor. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, you're on the air, Trevor. How are you in Nashua?
Hey, this actually isn't Trevor. It's Josh from Lowell.
Josh from Lowell. How are you, Josh from Lowell?
Good. How you doing, Big Joe? I actually called in a couple times. It was just from a different number. I was wanted to touch in on I'm not a huge wrestling guy like I used to be back in the 90s and the Attitude Era and stuff like that. Never a huge Batista fan, but have you ever seen The Glass Onion with Eddie Norton and a bunch of guys?
Yes, very good.
Daniel Craig.
I like that.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty good flick. I was surprised that Batista was so good. There's also another movie he's in that's like an apocalyptic movie where he shows up and he's like kind of like a prophet with like three other people. I honestly, I feel embarrassed that I didn't look up the movie I wanted to talk about. But yeah, if you can, I don't know if Skaz can look it up. Not trying to put Skaz to work or anything. I appreciate
it's called
all the
Knock
work
at the
you
Cabin.
do, Skaz. You're the man.
Thank you. It's called Knock at the Cabin.
The Glass Egg was pretty good. Did you ever see that? It's kind of like
onion.
Glass Onion. What do they call it? Glass Egg?
A Fabergé.
No, that was good. That was kind of a mind, you know.
I didn't love the first one, but yes.
What the hell's going on back there?
They're editing videos, Joe. Hard at work.
What was that?
It sounded like a wind chime.
Oh, okay. Trevor in Stoneham. Hey, Trevor.
Is this me now?
You're on, buddy. How you doing?
Okay, this is Trevor in Nashua.
Trevor in Nashua. Okay. Nashua, New Hampshire.
So,
shout out.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. Love the show. So you mentioned Roddy Piper. I got to bring up probably my favorite guest spot in my favorite show as the maniac in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Just ex-wrestler, completely lost his mind, gets involved with the gang, can't get enough of him. So, yeah, love it.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. The call screener had me really confused. Who's taking calls? Joe? No, you're doing damn fine. I blame them, not you.
You got his Trevors and his Joshes mixed up.
There's a lot of Trevors.
Yeah, classic mix-up.
How many Trevors do you know?
Off the top of my head, probably two or three.
There's a Trevor I know that he goes by Smitty. I would never know his name was Trevor. You have friends like do you think people knew your name was James?
I had people that didn't know my name was James for a while. Yeah, after being friends with them for a little bit.
Matt is in Abington. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Joe. What's up, man?
Yo.
Hey, just one movie I want to bring up. You know, you're talking about like The Rock and all of his stuff. How about one of the greatest movies ever, Mr. Nanny with Hulk Hogan? Come on, man. Like, you remember
Hated that movie. Was that? Oh, no, I was thinking Suburban Commando. My bad.
No. This movie is awesome. It has the bad guy at the end with a steel plate in his skull, and he goes, "So sue me" at the end. Come on.
I remember the movie. You like that one?
Yeah. Dude, who doesn't? Come on, man. It's 20 wrestling movies.
I was a no holds barred guy.
All right.
With Zeus?
All right. Oh, Zeus. Oh, that might be an RIP situation, right?
Yeah, and he's no longer with us.
Yeah, that's too bad.
I guess what is the best wrestler in a movie?
Oh, Jesus, dude. I don't know. I mean, nothing that Batista ever did.
Oh, I see. Wow. We got some haters. We got some haters tonight on that.
Yeah, that guy's opinion, Joe. Mr. Nanny, the movie he's raving about. Would you like to guess its Rotten Tomatoes score?
24.
How about 6? How about a single digit, Joe?
Woof.
The expert calling in. 6% on Rotten Tomatoes there.
Best movie for a wrestler.
I did see CM Punk was in a movie this winter. I didn't see the movie yet.
I think it was Girl on the Third Floor.
No, the CM Punk movie was like We Started a Cult or something like that. Apparently, he's supposed to be pretty funny in.
Personality or something. Man.
Did you ever see Peanut Butter Falcon, Joe?
No.
It was a Shia LaBeouf movie. Jake the Snake and Mick Foley are in it.
Princess Bride with Andre the Giant, damn it.
There you go.
That's the movie.
There you go.
You get some more movies for me?
No, I'm anything Batista's in, people are listing like Guardians of the Galaxy, Cabin in the Woods, which is supposed to be pretty good. I haven't seen it yet. Did you watch Mindhunter on Netflix?
I like that.
So the guy that plays Holden Ford in that show is also in the Batista Cabin in the Woods movie.
Jeff checking in. What is the Joe Show? It's a goddamn American institution. It's a way to find yourself and lose yourself every day after work. He's an enigma wrapped in a riddle squeezed between two chicken patties with no lettuce. He'll start your car in a bear fight.
All true.
Wow. Facts. I wonder what our interns write about the experience.
Trent told me that when he came home the other night, they asked him what he did at his internship, and he said, I answered phone calls on chicken nuggets for 2 hours. And they said, no, you didn't. And he said, no, that's actually exactly what I did.
Yeah. No. I mean, we don't plan on it. There's a rundown what was at the rundown at 8:20 tonight? Let's look.
Let's take a peek.
Let's see what we have. What's your AI rundown say tonight? Because we do a lot of show prep. Like, people don't get it.
Joe, yesterday, you might have sent me 60
during the
things.
Celtics game. I was trolling hard yesterday during the Celtics game. Like, all these people, Joe's already got the bro. Yeah, no, listen, I was trolling you all.
Speaking of trolling, Joe, at 8:20, you have the Knicks are frauds. The Knicks are not contenders.
8:20. Oh, that's what it was today?
The Knicks aren't contenders.
They aren't. The New York Post blasted them.
Rightfully so.
The Celtics finished with 21 fast break points against the New York Knicks. The Celtics rank last in the league in fast break points per game at 12. Denver leads the league in 20. The Knicks' transition defense was atrocious. The Celtics, again, had 21 fast break points and averaged 12 a game. Do you think that could have been the difference in the final score? They stink. All right, we were talking about combination restaurants. I know the guys put it in the Slack. I have not looked yet. Street Team Joe just turned around with a smile like you could never believe. So I want to see what Zach has to say. He's in Norton. What's up, Zach?
Joe, how we doing?
How you doing?
So, what about Papa Gino's D'Angelo's?
Ooh. Man.
Nice steak and cheese, a chicken bacon ranch pizza, some wings.
I haven't had D'Angelo's in a long time, but man, do they make a really, really good grilled chicken sub with cheese and bacon.
Their chicken bacon ranch, their steak and cheese. You can't go wrong.
You know what?
I didn't think of that one.
You know what my favorite thing from Papa Gino's is?
What?
Their breadsticks. Their breadsticks. I
can get behind the breadsticks.
They got a cheese breadstick, bro. That is it's to die for. Now, I get a pop-up platter, is what they call it. It comes with ziti, meatballs, and it comes with a ravioli with sauce and breadsticks. It's like
imagine getting that with your chicken sandwich.
Oh,
you got
a little bit of a mix, a little pasta, a little grilled chicken. That's a good one, bro. Have you ever had a lobster roll from D'Angelo's?
Chicken sandwich in the pasta.
Yeah, have you ever had a lobster roll from D'Angelo's?
I haven't because I don't do the sea meats. I don't like the sea meat. Once in a blue moon, I'll do sea meat, but can't do it.
Sea meat, huh? I've never heard it called that before.
Yeah.
Well, it's not sea meat. It's fish.
Yeah, but it's still considered a meat.
It's not. It's not meat. It's fish.
All right. Well, agree to disagree.
Did I just blow your? No. Wait, Scaz. I need a third party on this one. Is a lobster considered fish or meat? Come on.
A lobster is seafood, Joe.
You get the meat out of the claws.
But it's fish.
You call it the crab meat. You call it lobster meat.
Yeah.
But it's fish.
you referred to
lobster
as
is
meat.
not a fish.
Lobster is not a fish?
Not a fish. That's a
lobster is
crustacean. It's a crustacean.
It's like a cockroach of the sea.
I know it is. Okay. So fish is meat then?
I consider it meat because you got pork, chicken, and then fish. I consider a different meat. That's just me. I could be going crazy, but I consider it meat.
Okay. Now I need to think about this for a little bit. Lobster is meat. Fish is meat, says everyone. It's protein. Joe, we are brainwashed. Yes. Sea meat. Ooh.
Some real
sounded like I was by the ocean with that.
Some real lip smacking going on in that last call.
So real quick. Ooh. Just so I have it. Sea meat is actual meat from the sea. I'm going to Google sea meat right now. Sea meat. I understand it's protein, everybody. Thank you. Fish is classified as seafood, which includes any animal that lives in the water and is not a mammal. Some consider fish a healthier alternative to red meat. Ooh. It is important to remember that not all fish are created equal. Ooh. Can we match that one up with the guy from last week? Oh, did you hear the lip slap there? Would your lips smack? I can't even say it. I won't say it. Ooh. So, is fish meat? Whether fish is considered meat depends on the definition of meat and your personal beliefs. That's what Google AI said that. AI says this. Whether fish is considered meat depends on your definition of meat and your personal beliefs. Fish is considered meat if it's defined as the flesh of an animal used for food. Fish is not considered meat if it's defined as flesh of warm-blooded animal. Ooh. So what's the answer? Some guy wrote a swear in a title to an email to me. Sea meat, I'm effing dying. We're late. Sea meat. I don't do sea meat, man. I've never heard it called sea meat. I've heard of seamen, but I've never heard of seafood. Sea meat. We got to go to break. I'm Joe Murray.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
favorites to land linebacker Zach Bond if he leaves Philly. Super Bowl champ, 110 tackles last year, solo, 3.5 sacks. Bond projected to sign a new deal worth $15 million a year. How do people feel about that one? Also, the Patriots are the favorite to land Stephon Diggs in free agency when his time's up in Houston. So, a lot of the Patriots are the favorites for everybody. If the Red Sox are the interest kings, could the Patriots be the favorites for everybody? A ton of people watching on YouTube tonight. Thank you. I see Ian Bine in there. What's up, buddy? D. Leaper. Riz. Brandon's in there. Tom G. Brokerage Babe. All the regulars are in there having fun tonight. Appreciate you guys hanging with us. Tom G. Carrie Ann. Lava Cake Lorraine. Hello. Love me some lava cake. I got some combos coming. The boys sent some combos. I got a couple. Can I tease one right away? I know we got the music.
Please, Joe.
Give me an Olive Garden Longhorn combo. People are like, oh, Olive Garden sucks, but yet you'll go and order a tour of Italy and crush all their breadsticks, right? You know it. And when you go to Longhorn sucks, man. But what are you doing? You're eating all the bread, you're getting the steak, and you're getting a blooming onion. I want it all. I want the tour of Italy, the steak, the onion, the bread, and the breadsticks, and the soup. I want a pasta fagioli. Combo that bad boy up, baby. Look at the music. It's coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, no Bruins, no Celtics tonight, but the Combine will be this week. Shedeur Sanders, Ashton Genty, and Abdul Carter will not do workouts. Matthew Stafford, he's been given permission to speak to other teams. The Giants, Browns, Steelers, and Raiders have all shown interest, and old friend Alex Van Pelt has joined the Rams as an offensive assistant. Headlines are brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss with a 98% customer satisfaction rating and thousands of 5-star reviews. The choice is clear. Awaken180weightloss.com. I'm Joe Murray, and I like sea meat.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app. The 98.5 The Sports Hub app.
You want a random take? Murray's got all sorts on stuff in the world unrelated to sports. So sit back, relax, and get your mind in the game and listen to the words of a grown man complaining.
People are like, oh, Olive Garden sucks, but yet you'll go and order a tour of Italy and crush all their breadsticks, right? You know it. And when you go to Longhorn sucks, man. But what are you doing? You're eating all the bread, you're getting the steak, and you're getting a bloomin' onion. I want it all. I want the tour of Italy, the steak, the onion, the bread, and the breadsticks, and the soup. I want a pasta fagioli. Combo that bad boy up, baby. Look at the music. It's coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports. It's hard to say pasta fagioli on the radio so nicely. It can come out different. I want it all. I want it all. Listen, if I want the best Italian in the world, I go to Petrillo's in Peabody. But if I want some, just Olive Garden, baby. Oh, just get the tour of Italy, man. You get yourself a little bit of Alfredo and sauce. And they give you a choice of salad or soup. You know I'm going soup. I want it all. Yes, I want it all. But I'm telling you, that's a great crossover right there. Longhorn. And you know what else? There used to be a Smoky Bones, if anybody remembers that. Guys, you probably know the one I'm talking about on off of 24 there. And,
yeah.
So I used to do radio shows from that Smoky Bones back in the day. I used to do the Sports Blast live from Smoky Bones.
That's not too far from me. 10
it's
minutes.
Gone now. What is it now?
There's I think there might still be an Olive Garden there.
There's an Olive Garden still there. I know that.
There was a TGI Fridays there. I think that might be gone.
Oh, okay.
But
right, we did the Fridays this year for the Game 4. Yeah, Game 4 of the finals. I was at a TGI Fridays in Stoughton. Take the S off of Stoughton. What's that spell? Tough Town. All right. We'll do more crossovers in a bit. Skaz, you're a man who seems to pay respects. I feel like Street Team Joe is probably a guy, Trent. Someone passes, you go and pay your respects, right?
I went to a wake on Saturday, Joe.
Okay. So, you got directed. Now, when the wake happened, this is a Bird story. Bird goes, I'm going to last night. Okay. I told him I got some nice goodies from our friends over at Canavana. Shout out. Go check them out. And so I told Bird if he wanted to come by, I would partake with him, even though my throat's a little. So Bird storms in my house and goes, dude, you're not going to believe what happened to me tonight. And I go, you went to the wrong wake, huh? And he goes, dude, I don't know how I did it. So anyways, I'll stop there. When you went to the wake, you knew exactly where it was. Have you ever gone to the wrong wake?
Yes, Joe, I have. So I had a feeling this is where this story was going. Unfortunately, I might be the only guy that can say yes to this question.
And Bird.
Yeah, so it's not exactly a category I'm thrilled to be a part of, but I love Bird. So yes, Joe, I will admit one time, not too long ago, a couple of years ago, I did go to the wrong wake. So I am from Bridgewater, Rainham. I'm from Rainham. there were a couple, I think it was
The same
Silva
names, right?
or
Yep.
yeah, whatever it was. I don't remember exactly.
It happens. There's McDonald and McLeod. There's a ton of them around here, and they confuse me. And some of them have the same names, but they're in two different spots in the town.
So these are owned, I think, by the same family. One in Bridgewater, one in West Bridgewater, and my dad called me, a friend of the family. This is when it is. If you could show up, that would be great. So I'm like, yep, sure. I'll meet you there. My dad lives in New York. So I go to the wrong one, but I just think, oh, my dad's inside. He's already, gone through. I'll go in. No big deal. I go in, don't really recognize any of the faces, but I'm thinking, family friend and not super close, so I don't think too much of it. I go through the line, and we've all been to wakes, unfortunately, but they have the pictures set up of the person. Well, the pictures for this one were set up like right on the turn where you were to walk into the room.
Yeah.
So I did not know I was at the wrong wake until it was too late. I was already in the line. I was very close to the family. So, Joe, I went through the line. I gave my condolences. I meant it. I did. I'm sorry for your loss, even though I never met the person. And then I left and drove to the other one. And my dad was like, hey, where the hell have you been? And I just told him I was late. I didn't even tell him. I just didn't want to go through the whole story. But I was like, yep, so that one was on me. That was on me.
Okay. This is very similar to Bird's story. Bird went to a wake, I believe it was in Everett. And in Everett, they have a Rocco funeral home and then a Rocco Cafaso or a Rocco Salvatore. I can't remember. There's two Rocco funeral homes in Everett. And Bird told me that he went and parked. He walked in, saw the funeral guy. He filled his name out in the book, but only saw like 4 names in the book. And he's like, where's my family's names? So he filled out the book and everything.
That's what I did. The family saw me. I had turned the corner. I couldn't just leave the line.
So he said he walked in and realized there was like 4 or 5 family members there, saw the photos like you did, and literally walked out, stormed out, and got in his car. So the people now have his number, address, and everything in that book, but he never paid his respects.
Oh, I paid my paid my respects, but I did not leave a number or an address, just a signature.
But you got to understand, when Bird walked into my house, I went, "You went to the wrong funeral, huh?" He goes, "Dude, I even signed the book and everything," and I just started dying laughing. I'm like, "Are you now going to expect a thank you for attending the service card?"
I did not receive a thank you card. I'll put that out there.
They were probably like, who the hell is James Scaramazina?
Yeah, how did he know that guy?
Oh, it's such a... Now, for you were just doing something nice. You knew you screwed up, but you went through the whole act.
Yeah, I basically made eye contact with the family. I couldn't just get out of line.
You said a prayer and everything, too.
Yeah, I was just like, what do you do? What are you doing that to? I felt like I was in an episode of Curb, Joe.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Yeah, that was a few years ago. Tried to push that one back in the memory, but as soon as you started talking, I was like, I have a feeling where this is going.
I was peppering him with questions, though. I'm like, and I'm like, what happened? He goes, Joe, you don't understand. There's 2 Rocco funeral homes. And I'm like, all right, I get it, man. I get that.
I can relate, Bird. Same situation.
His dad and his brothers were completely busting his balls because they were like, where is he? Where'd he go? You were like, I was late.
Yeah, this past weekend, I went to the correct funeral home.
Okay.
This was years ago that this happened, yes.
So if this was my funeral, Skaz, and you did this, I would laugh.
Yeah, I think the person's funeral, they would have appreciated it.
I laughed. And trust me, I'm the kind of guy in an uncomfortable situation, I'm going to say something to make you laugh. That's just me in general. Okay? All right. So this is a story I just read a little while ago. I got to get it out. I threw it in our Slack channel. 2 homeless men are on the run with a $523,000 lottery ticket they purchased with a stolen credit card. The victim's lawyer is offering to drop the charges and split the winnings if they turn it back in. I ask you all, Do you believe him? That would be $260,000 each, guys.
They can't cash it, though, right?
Well, how are you buying a lottery ticket with a credit card?
Yeah, the whole story is,
I hate
is
that
a little
one.
Fishy, Joe. Meaty, as some people might call it. I don't know.
Sea meat. It smells like sea meat. So I asked the people in our chat as well. Are you guys buying the story? Who charges lottery? Like, I can understand putting your credit card in to make a couple of bets. You know what I mean? But, like, who actually lets you charge? What do you do? Let me get,
Online. You can do this online. You can buy lottery tickets and stuff.
But it's a stolen credit card. Are they going to get in trouble for the theft?
Yes, absolutely.
So then I would destroy everything.
Apparently, Joe, the man whose credit card it is says if they want to split the thing, he will drop the charges.
Do you believe them?
No.
No, me either.
No.
I would need like a written affidavit. Like, but they're homeless men. You know what's funny? I obviously have never been homeless, so I don't know what that means. But you got to have a game plan here, right? This is one where, well, you're not going to get any. Well, if I was a lawyer here, I would love to take on the case because there's some money coming your way.
You know what those homeless guys want, Joe?
I want it all. Yes, they do. They do. It kind of reminds me of the movie Trading Places. Or if you ever watched Coming to America, when he gives the guys the money on the street.
More of a Brewster's Millions guy.
What the hell are their names? Why can't I remember their names right now? But somebody in the chat goes, I've seen many homeless people with better phones than me. Wasn't that what Better Call Saul did? Isn't that how he got started? Saul Goodman? He was selling phones? Yes. You know, did I ever tell you the story? Maybe this is another musings, but the day the Patriots signed Antonio Brown. So remember, I'm coming from Peabody up 90, down 93 towards Boston. I get off on Columbia Road. And then you bang a left. Take a right at JFK. Okay, so for those who know where I'm talking about, I'm at the light. A homeless man I see every day. I see this man every day. He walks up to me and he goes, "Hey, man, Antonio Brown, man." Like, you know, and I'm like, "Yeah, dude." And I fist pumped the homeless man on Columbia Road. And I said, "Hey, dude, I got a sandwich. I'm not going to eat it. Do you want it?" He immediately goes, "Are you trying to kill me?" So we just dapped over Antonio Brown, but thinks I'm going to try to kill him by giving him a tuna fish sandwich. Is that sea meat?
Now we're back to the crux of the issue, Joe. Now you're asking the right questions.
That's right. For real, though. Why? You know, you're trying to feed the homeless, but then they think you're trying to kill them.
Trent's having a tough time with the podcast descriptions tonight. He has no idea what to write. No idea.
You should just write, "The show went off the rails when talking about The Rock."
I think he has sea meat in there. I don't know.
Now, I understand the man could be allergic to tuna, but when are you thinking about your allergies when you're homeless? What are you, gluten-free? Why do the homeless hate when you give them food? Why? So anyways, that's my whole takeaway today is the homeless don't want your food. They want your money. They want it all. They want it all but your food. Let's listen to this one. Steve's in New Hampshire. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Joe. How we doing tonight?
Good, buddy.
A lot of stores actually let you charge lottery on your debit or credit cards now. And if I was those guys holding the ticket, I wouldn't believe that lawyer unless I had it in writing. Then I'll turn over the ticket.
You know what I would do? I would put it on eBay. For real.
Is eBay going to allow that? Aren't they pretty strict?
All right. What about what about whatnot? I don't know. I'm trying.
Put it on Twitter. Everything else is on Twitter these days.
Well, can I sell it on TikTok?
Seems pretty lawless.
What about TikTok?
Still going. Hasn't been shut down yet.
A lot of businesses do well. I have a buddy that does junk wax cards and kills it. Like sells old packs of like 80s and 90s cards and just crushes on TikTok. Yeah, like why couldn't you just go to an auction? Hey, here's a $523,000 ticket that we illegally bought. I'm going to put it up for auction and you guys can go 50-50 with the winner. With the credit card guy. There's got to be a way to do this. Some sort of auction house would take that. I mean, there's stolen cars all the time that run at the auction. Garrett's in Rockland. Hi, Garrett.
Hey, Joe.
Hey.
I got to say, I need a ranking of crustaceans. We're talking sea meat, right?
Yes.
We need a ranking of crustaceans. So we're talking crabs, lobsters, crayfish, shrimp, and prawn.
Okay.
Can
I like, if I was going to number one, I love lobster. I'm a lobster. I'm a bottom feeder. Okay?
I'm a bottom feeder.
always ass.
Second is shrimp. Love shrimp. I like the big jumbo shrimp. Okay? I only like the Jonah crab knuckles.
No big Alaskan snow crab legs?
You know what? I've had them once. What was the one Jameis Winston stole?
Oh, boy. I know it was just crab.
I really like the Jonah Knuckles. There's a place called Fisherman's View. Shout out. They're in Sandwich, Mass. They give you this like platter of, and it comes in pure ice. They'll give you oysters, the Jonah crab knuckles, and big shrimp, and it's outstanding.
What's the difference between a shrimp and a prawn? I don't understand that.
Well, shrimp and a prawn. Let's look it up. Shrimp are the they can be found in freshwater. However, most varieties of shrimp are found in salt water. Prawns live in freshwater.
Oh, I don't know if I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so one more, if I may. I feel like Matt and Abington got a little bit of of the gag there because Mr. Nanny. How do you not like Mr. Nanny?
I didn't like it as a kid. I was a suburban commando guy.
I suppose, yeah, they're two competing ones. I suppose I understand.
Did you know the Undertaker?
Hey, Joe,
did you know the Undertaker was in that movie?
No, I didn't. Was he in full getup?
He's the guy who was gonna, his head shrunk, and he goes, "You're gonna die, Ramsey," with the voice like that.
Oh boy, it looks like I need to do some rewatching.
Yeah, I haven't watched a lot of the old movies from back in the day, man. I think they've kind of lost it. Like, I'll still there aren't a lot of movies that hold up like the old days. You know what I mean? Especially these wrestling.
No.
Do you know what I did like? What was that movie? It was a wrestling movie, but it was WCW guys. It had the King in it. Who's the guy who married Courtney Cox there? That guy.
Oh, God.
David Arquette.
Way out of my realm.
David Arquette.
Yeah, geez, he was a wrestler? I didn't know he was a wrestler.
Yeah, and he came back and won a big championship recently.
Oh,
because he didn't
boy,
take
look
it
at him go.
He didn't take it seriously at first.
Well, you're not going to get fired if you don't take it seriously.
It was called Ready to Rumble. Remember that?
Yeah.
Came out
Absolutely.
like 2000.
Certainly.
Goldberg was in it. It was like slacker wrestling fans.
Yeah, you better believe it. That's kind of the WCW era with Sting. Oh, Sting was my dude.
Yeah. Which Sting did you like? Old Sting or Crow Sting?
I like Crow Sting. The white face paint with the black details, and he'd like come down from the rafters with the bat. and he'd get you with the bat.
Stumbled onto something with the callers recently. I think you're reverse osmosis. The callers are becoming more like you. I'd like to hear just 2 snippets of that call.
Sure. Shout out. They're in Sandwich, Mass. They give you this like platter. They give you this. They can be found in freshwater. However, most varieties of shrimp are found in salt water. Prawns live in freshwater. Prawns live in freshwater.
You're getting some extra noises from the callers tonight.
The sting with the bat, though, that was good. That's what got me. What's our chat doing right now? Riz is in there, geeking. It's the Joe universe. The Joe-niverse.
I like Crow Sting, the white face paint with the black details, and he'd like come down from the rafters with the bat, and he'd get you with the bat.
That's right. He would.
Details, and he'd like come down from the rafters with the bat, and he'd get you with the bat.
That's right. He would.
I like Crow Sting, the white face paint with the black details, and he'd like come down from the rafters with the bat, and he'd get you with the bat.
That's right. He would. He would. Birthdays today, guys. Floyd Mayweather, 48 years old today. Oh, Steve Jobs, no longer with us, but we should celebrate his birthday anyways. He gets you with the bat. Whew. Barry Bostwick's 80 years old today. Edward James Olmos, 78. George Thurgood, 75. Billy Zane turned 59 today. Bonnie Somerville's 51. Looking at some other birthdays today. Who do we got? Who's Eli Mack? Do you know who that is? I don't.
Nope.
Ooh, O'Shea Jackson Jr. That is our friend Ice Cube's kid. Friend of the show. Ice Cube, big wrestling fan. Big fan of Sting, too. Not sure which one he liked, though.
Bronson Arroyo?
Ooh. Shinsuke Nakamura, 45 years old wrestler. Kristen Davis is 60. She was Charlotte on Sex and the City. Joe, you a Sex and the City fan back there? Nope. Okay. No Sex and the City fans. The movie was on this weekend, by the way, part 2. Billy Zane, 59. Did I already say that?
Yes.
Anyways. Anything else today?
Details, and he'd like come down from the rafters with the bat, and he'd get you with the bat.
That's right. He was with the ticket. So you can sell a cell phone for $1 million or whatever the amount is, and it comes with a free lottery ticket. Well, that game went over, Skaz, I was telling you about. North Carolina, 95-85 right now. Wish I jumped on that one earlier.
UNC, yeah, kind of. I wouldn't say putting it together, but looking better lately.
Brad Stevens effect, maybe?
I don't think so, but you never know.
All right, we got to go to break. Anything else you got to add?
I'm good. I was going to say, you think Belichick's at the game?
It's in Florida State, though, but he could be recruiting. Gonna get you with the bat. All right, we'll do something of sports next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
If you're watching on YouTube tonight, 115 people in there right now. Thank you. Joe, you should host the Tonight Show. The Tonight Joe. Hey, listen, dude. I would do anything. I would negotiate with those homeless guys for that ticket. Okay? Because I know a way to get rid of that thing without getting in trouble. Riz says, you know a good show on Netflix? Prime Evil. Haven't seen that. Have you watched a good show lately, Skaz? I told you I was watching Shrinking, but my TV time has gone down.
Yeah, I'm a little behind on my shows. New season of Invincible has been good. I'm a little behind, but that's a very good show on Amazon. Traders is huge right now on Peacock. I'm a little behind on that as well, but watching that. Nothing like week to week that I'm watching, though.
Do you know what I always watch, and then I get Shawshanked, and then I get pissed at myself because I've watched it for too long and I become hungry? Triple D, baby. I watch Guy Fieri, and he's the only one that can do that. Like, Guy Fieri did a bunch of promos in his red car and was like, we're going to go down to Flavortown. You know, like, that's what he does. And then he, like, meets the people and he goes, we're going to go to this place that's got the best dumplings ever. And he goes, meet Chef Moss, from here. How do you make the dough? Well, you get the salt, right? You get the water, you get this, you get that. And they put it all in there. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, and then you deep fry that for 5 minutes. But then after you do that, you let it sit in the fridge for 24 hours. Well, dude, I ain't got 24 hours. So I immediately get upset because I know I can't make it. Then I don't have the time to prep it like that. Like the other night, I saw this. They were called Sloppy Jose's, not Sloppy Joe's, because they were a Hispanic version of Sloppy Joe's, and I want it all. It's actually, Skaz, it was a empanada with like a Sloppy Joe, some sort of Sloppy Joe meat, but not a Sloppy Joe. It was a Sloppy Jose. And I love Guy Fieri. How do I get Guy on the show? What do you think you and Guy and I could do together? What do you think? Sea meat? I don't want to do sea meat. What do you think? What will be some suggestions?
It's got to be beef, Joe.
Brings up combination number 2 of the night.
Remember in the last segment when you said, we'll do sports next?
What do you want to do? What do you want to do for sports?
No, I don't want to do sports, Joe.
What do you want to do? No.
I want to do beef talk.
I get it. There are people out there that talk sports.
I don't think those people exist, Joe.
Bruins are not contenders. We got that? Sweeney's comments on the deadline?
This is what the people want, Joe.
Alex Bregman and Crochet, the new toys?
I was just thinking of Jake being like, what about those gambling odds?
Tatum is taking over.
We've done sports. We've done enough sports.
Patriots the favorites for Zach Bond. The Knicks aren't contenders. A new mock draft. Matthew Stafford situation.
Out.
Or great combos in restaurants. I think we do combos, right? So Street Team Joe has sent over some combos. By the way, Trent has been doing some magnificent work that will go to social. It won't go on our YouTube page, but you can follow I'm Joe Murray on Instagram or Twitter at Joey Murr. Or I'm on TikTok. Even though I'm not a TikToker, I post the content to TikTok.
You're an influencer.
I am. So these are some of the combos. And this one really stood out to me. Inspired brands by this one company. They have Arby's, Baskin Robbins, Buffalo Wild Wings, Dunkin', Jimmy John's, and Sonic. I could have a blast with all of them. Man, Sonic has some... So I don't love Sonic food, but damn, they got great desserts or slushes or like drinks. And I live right near one, and it's bad. Jimmy John's, I'm telling you, you want yourself a nice little sangy? That's a good spot. Dunkin', well, I mean, the apple fritter is my favorite. Get a little bit of snack and bacon there. But my choice would be an Arby's Buffalo Wild Wings combo, Skaz. Not only would I get myself famous chicken wings in a sports bar atmosphere, again, a North Shore roast beef is not Arby's. A North Shore roast beef is not Kelly's. But you know what? Arby's is known for its big Montana and their roast beef sandwiches. And I'm telling you right now, if I could get myself an Arby's Big Montana and a side of Buffalo Wild Wings in beef and chicken in one spot, hallelujah. There's a couple other ones in here. There's an Auntie Anne's and a Cinnabon at the same time. Mall food rules. Have you ever had an Auntie Anne's?
Oh, yeah. The cinnamon pretzels, the best.
You ever had a Cinnabon?
I don't know if I know what it is, obviously.
At the mall. Same thing. It's a bun.
Seeming like an airport, too, maybe.
I've one time put the Cinnabon dressing on the pretzel. Combo me up right there, baby. Carvel ice cream cake. These are some great combos. I've never had Cheddar's Scratch Kitchen. Is anybody else? Anyways. All right. Well, that's all I got. Mall food, though? My number one, I don't know how Joe feels about this. Street Team Joe. My number one mall food, Sarku, Japan. The chicken with the extra rice and the extra sauce, baby. Sauce me up, baby. And we used to have a Johnny Rockets, if anybody remember, at the mall. Did you ever go to the South Shore Plaza, Skaz? Or you were a Taunton Mall guy, huh?
Yeah, Silver City back in the day.
What did Silver City have for foods at the mall?
There was an Auntie Annie's there. There was a Sarku Japan there. That was usually the spot.
There you go.
There was like a BK and a couple other things in there too, but it was Sarku Japan and Auntie Anne's.
Pizza Regina, baby, at the Braintree Mall. Man, Sarku Japan was it's still going. It's still going, baby. And the Galleria, they got one there too. Oh, I guess the Providence Mall still has a Johnny Rockets. That was where we went for dates at in 8th and 9th grade.
Get some Sbarro or something.
Sbarro?
Yeah.
Oh! I love Sbarro. I know now it's not,
It's an authentic New York slice, Joe.
Listen, there used to be one at the Dedham Mall growing up, dude, across from the Bradleys.
Best pizza in New York, Joe.
I mean,
that's what Michael Scott says.
I will tell you, Sbarro, I love when you can see the pizza in a window, right?
There's a drop.
I am a window shopping pizza guy, food guy, whatever. Any bakery that just puts the food out in a window, in. But Sbarro, they would make all the slices and put them all up in a window so you'd walk by and you'd be like, oh. Love Sbarro. All right, we're up against it. We'll do sports, I guess, coming up next. No sports? We'll have fun coming up next here on the Sports Hub. I love when you can see the pizza in a window. Park brand. I feel like I need to bring Street Team Joe in here for this. Joe, come in here. You got to come in here for this one. Here's another one. Joe, please keep the food convo going. I'm all in on the non-sports talk right now. How can we go about getting a cool dog back? The cool dog back. I know there was a news story about it last year. I don't know what he's talking about. Cool dogs? What are cool dogs? Do you remember anything about this?
Cool runnings, but no cool dogs.
Cool dogs. What's Trent like to eat? Like, what'd you eat today?
A pizza, a sandwich, French fries. He's a college kid, Joe. He's a garbage disposal.
You had eggs and pancakes today?
Pancakes.
Pancakes for breakfast, huh? Was this at the dorm food thing? All right.
Yeah.
And they give you that, you get a pass, right? Remember Joe Medeiros would always come in with some sort of rice bowl.
Chicken and rice Tuesdays or something, yeah.
Well, what does Josh come with? That dude brings a lot of food. You notice that?
I have not picked up on that, no.
Next time you see him. So, Street Team Joe is here, everybody.
A food connoisseur.
We
didn't know this until we got him on the air for the first time.
I did not know this. And I haven't let Trent on the air yet, so I want you to know that at some point, Trent, you will be coming on the air. Just tonight, this is a special Street Team Joe who has a real name, but he goes by Street Team Joe. And how do I say your last name? Arena?
Ariano.
That's a nice Italian name.
Oh, absolutely. I'm the last Ariano left.
There's no other Arianos?
If I don't get a baby boy, the name dies with me.
The last of the Arianos.
Yeah,
wow. That'd be a funny show. So, Trent, we will get you on air. By the way, Trent, you wrote an article last week about the Revs. It got a little controversy. Like, people like, 98.5 doesn't spend any time on the Revs. And I put it right I went, boom, right in your face. And then some guy goes, well, if you guys tried hard. And I go, yeah, as hard as your owner does. And they all went, whoa! Like, they all, liked it. So sometimes you got to chirp back at someone to have a conversation. It's like how you build character with someone, you know?
Yeah,
absolutely. Call him out.
Trent's a beast back there, though.
You see him, right?
I've been watching him this whole night. He's got some talent.
Yes, and we're going to post some of these videos that are coming up here, so thank you. All right. You sent several major corporations own multiple popular restaurant chains. So there's Yum Brands, there's the Restaurant Brand International, there's the Darden restaurants, all those. I've already given you a couple. What brands would you mix here, Street Team Joe?
First one that sticks. I got a couple, but
there's no wrong answer.
I'm just going to go down the list.
Okay.
So if we're going Yum Brands first, so when I lived in North Hollywood, the Habit Burger and Grill was across the street.
The Hobbit?
The Habit.
Habit?
The Burger and Grill. Now, by no means is it great. It is good at best. And it's more likely...
It's like Sbarro. It's just nostalgic.
Yeah. And in fact, we would go in there, we'll just call it later at night, Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. You're not taking a date there, but, the boys are going there at 10 o'clock.
Okay. And that's one of your spots.
That's one of the spots.
What would you mix it with?
And I would mix that with Pizza Hut. Now, I know that's we're getting a lot of calories in there. But those are my burgers and pizza. Like, that's my two favorite foods.
Do you ever get hamburger on pizza?
Sometimes if I do get hamburger on pizza, I usually go like hamburg, peppers, onions.
Okay,
that kind
I'm
of
in on
stuff.
that. I do hamburger bacon.
That's also sounds really good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big pepperoni sausage guy on my pizza. With garlic.
The cool dog is the ice cream dog, Skaz. I'm going to retweet it right now. I see what it is. So, Joe, you just went to California.
I did, yeah.
What's the difference between the food there and the food here?
The food there is 1,000 times better. Way, way fresher. I would like to say, like, we went to a couple farmers markets, like best fruit I ever had, best crepes I ever had.
What kind of fruit are we talking?
We're talking, apples, orange. Their oranges are out of this world. Like
better than Florida?
Yeah.
Wow.
They had Cara oranges. Now, keep in mind, we're in Laguna. So I actually used to live in California. I live with all the poor people in North Hollywood, but my aunt and uncle have a house in Laguna, so I got to pretend to be rich for a couple weeks.
That's cool.
So I did have access to food I would not normally have access to.
Like, what kind of food are we talking? Like,
we went to some fairly
veal?
Nice restaurants. Yeah, some like eggplant parm, chicken
ooh,
parm.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And we went to some fairly nice Mexican restaurants, Italian restaurants, some high-end pub that I would not be able to afford.
What's your favorite kind of pasta?
Ooh, I would have to go. I'm just kind of a penne guy.
You like penne?
I think it gets a lot. If it's al dente, I think you can really taste the sauces well with penne pasta.
I like a penne type of pasta because I don't like to twirl.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Like angel hair, I don't know. I like it. I'll eat it all.
Yeah,
but like I don't want to use scissors while I eat.
Yeah.
You know,
it's I don't want to have a process of
Like I'm a fusilli. I love fusilli.
Okay,
one of my favorite. I have a whole map thing of pastas at my house. So, like, there's pastas I never even knew.
What's your favorite sauce?
It's probably a tomato basil, but like my favorite is bolognese.
Bolognese, that's my favorite.
Dude, I love bolognese.
Not even a close second. I'll get that everywhere we go.
Oh, I love bolognese.
Yeah, bolognese and vodka sauce. If you could,
you're a vodka sauce guy,
you could combine those somehow, like
vodka sauce on a grilled chicken. Believe it or not, because most people would do it on a, parm or something like that. Do it on a non-breaded chicken. Outstanding.
I'm going to have to give that a try.
What's your favorite, like if you get breakfast, right? What's your favorite bread? Like, do they say you want to, toast? Like, I like raisin bread.
So
that's my favorite.
If I am going bread, I would go sourdough. But if I'm being a hefty child, I'm going to ask for a pancake or a waffle.
Okay, but like no muffin?
No muffin.
Not a muffin guy.
Out on muffin. I think I'm out on most muffins. In on pancakes and waffles, out on muffins.
Okay. Hash browns or home fries?
Home fries, not even close. Yeah. I need the potato. I need the texture. I think the home fries taste a little too like artificial for me. But if you put home fries in a breakfast burrito, hash browns in a breakfast burrito, now we're talking.
So how I make my sandwiches now is I get a tortilla, a corn tortilla, and I put it in the pan first, put a little olive oil in first, put the pan in, and then I let it sit so it sits like a taco. Then I'll make my eggs and my sausage, and I'll put it in there, and then and fold it up nice.
That sounds
not like a
amazing.
burrito, though. It's a taco, breakfast taco.
Yeah. And how long would you say it fills you up for?
I make 2 of them.
Okay.
So it gets me from 9 a.m. to noon.
Okay.
Because then I like lunch.
Good. Yeah.
But I don't eat a lot of lunches. I eat a lot of cheese and pepperonis and crackers.
So where did you come up with this idea for your
Well, I
breakfast?
make tacos, and I make them like that. So I said, why don't I do it with my breakfast? Sometimes I'll do scrambled. Sometimes I'll do over easy. Sometimes it just depends on the day. Corned beef hash in or out?
In.
Do you like it like restaurant style or canned?
I'm going to say both.
Okay, you're in.
I am all the way in. I've had it, both ways. Restaurant style is great. In the can, I also enjoy from time to time, too.
Okay.
All the way in on that.
We have a minute to go. I would like to hear a story from Brian in Colorado. Hello, Brian.
Joe, I got a story that might kill your nostalgia toward the Dedham Mall Sbarro.
Tell me.
This was about...
No, don't tell me. I love the denim all. But you can tweet it at me at Joey Murr. We got to go. That's the to go. Street team.
Well, thank you for having me on.
Before you leave, how do you cook your steak?
It's got to be rare.
Trent, excellent job tonight, my man. James Scaramazino, you're awesome. Street team Joe's hungry, and I am too. We're back here tomorrow night at 6 o'clock here on the Sports Hub. Bye!
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 90.